You're watching ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
We have a packed house for the Champs Sports Bowl. A beautiful late afternoon in Orlando, and the color of gold seen plenty in Central Florida. Some of it like that right there, splashed with garnet for Florida State. The rest framed with signature green and a little blue. The Irish have arrived. A tradition-rich matchup between the Seminoles and the Fighting Irish. Both teams looking to cap a year of high expectations with a satisfying win now. Both teams looking to springboard into the future. Yet even with those eyes on all the upside among these two, when you say Notre Dame and Florida State, it's hard to ignore their grand past.
Finds an alley. Touchdown, Florida State.
No doubt, the Irish are number one.
And it's a touchdown. A touchdown. Unbelievable finish.
We're going outside him. Inside him, outside him. And don't forget, man, today, we're gonna win.
We welcome you to the Champs Sports Bowl, part of ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week. And a special welcome to those of you watching on spectacular ESPN 3D. From the Florida Citrus Bowl Stadium here in Orlando, memories of an all-time classic back in '93. Notre Dame and Florida State, both hungry and hopeful to continue on their course for a return to glory. Hello, everybody. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore. We'll say hello to Holly Rowe in just a moment. This is one of the toughest tickets in town, one of the toughest tickets of the bowl season. It was a sellout as soon as they announced the matchup, Rod. And the Champs Bowl feels special because even though these two programs have faltered and were below expectations in recent years, you put them on the field together, it feels like what it should feel like. The defenses were special this year.
Absolutely.
The offenses, some question marks. Let's start with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We're expected to see two quarterbacks and, of course, a star receiver.
Well, you know, they've had their issues at times, and Tommy Rees, I think, has played, really well. He's won. He's done well. 12-3 as a starter. He's actually played pretty well, completing 66% of his passes. The issue has been protecting the football. In 4 losses this season, 9 turnovers, and that opened the door for Andrew Hendricks in the Stanford game. He came in and played some. And we're going to see Andrew Hendricks tonight. But it almost doesn't matter who the quarterback is when you have Michael Floyd out there. I mean, we're talking about one of the best receivers in college football, likely to be a first-round pick in the upcoming NFL draft. 95 catches this year, over 1,000 yards. He's a matchup problem for Florida State. A couple of small corners that they'll use at times, and they'll be trying to match him up there. That's an issue for Florida State.
As for Florida State and their offense, E.J. Manuel, listen, he was one of those dark horse Heisman choices early in the year. They were a trending national title pick in the preseason.
I had him. Yeah.
Things faltered.
Yep.
Then they came back strong at the end of the year. Now he's healthy, but it's the guys up front that are a concern.
Well, it's a couple things. E.J. Manuel is carrying the load now. He's back, and they're having trouble up front a little bit, and so he's not just throwing the football, he's running it more. And when you talk about him being a leader, this is his second bowl start for him. He started the Gator Bowl a couple years ago and was the MVP. But he's going to be on the field with 8 freshmen at times, and up front, he's got 4 freshman linemen. Both his guards are freshmen making their very first collegiate start tonight. That's an issue.
And as for the Florida State running game, well, Holly joins us with more. Hello, Holly.
Hey guys, well, Florida State has trouble running the ball all season long. They're averaging just over 3 yards per carry, and it isn't going to get easier tonight. Like you said, 4 freshmen up front, but they're without their second best running back. Jermaine Thomas is academically ineligible and won't play. So the load falls on, yes, another freshman, Devontae Freeman, a 5'8 freshman. Talked to him before the game, and he said it's his first bowl game. He just wants to go out and have fun. But good news for the Seminoles, their experienced wide receiver, Burt Reed, a senior, will play tonight. He's been battling a hamstring. He's wearing tight compression stockings, and guys, with his 169 career receptions, boy, do they need his experience.
Reed's a good one, number 83. Here's Jimbo Fisher. Both head coaches in their second year. He's a recruiting star. Put together a great class a year ago, working on another one this year for the Noles. Notre Dame's Brian Kelly told us his approach to this game, well, it starts with winning, but he says you have to have an eye towards the future, and he feels it's a bright one considering some of the talent in the front seven defensively. Brinza to kickoff for Notre Dame. Florida State back deep. And this will be taking a knee, Rashad Green, for the touchback. There's E.J. Manuel, 6'5", 245-pound junior, currently #1 in Florida State history with a career completion percentage of over 66%.
Really talented, really talented. Big, strong quarterback. And when they've gone to using him in the running attack, it's really changed their offensive end. They almost had to because of all the things Holly talked about, Jermaine Thomas and the youth up front for them. Now this big quarterback, he can run the football.
Remember, he was injured in that showdown game back on September 17th against Oklahoma. Play action to start. He's going to go for it, cranks it up downfield, but it was overthrown and to the right for Rodney Smith. Rod, let's talk about how Florida State has arrived to this point.
Well, you think about their 8-4 record. You have to go back to that Oklahoma game, which was really kind of that defining moment. #1 against Florida State. They lost that game, then lost 3 straight. Won 6 of their last 7 until they ran into a hot Virginia team that shut them down.
Finish things up with a win at Florida. Ugly offensive game that victory was. They run option to the near side, and Manuel scoots ahead for a gain of about 8. It'll make for a 3rd and short.
That's the change. You know, and a lot of people were surprised when Florida State used Manuel in the rushing attack because he had that injury, and you figured when he came back they wouldn't run him so much. Well, they went right to it, and they're showing you tonight they believe in it.
Lonnie Pryor, the fullback, in front of Devontae Freeman here. 3rd down and 3, and there was motion up front.
I think Bobby Hart, the freshman on the right side, moved.
Full start. Offense, number 51. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Boy, one of the big stories we've talked about in the lead up to this has been the inexperience along that front line for Florida State. The freshman, and then the one senior, Sanders, who's outstanding, but all that inexperience, Rod.
Well, Sanders protects the blind side, so that's a good thing for Manuel. And you worry about freshmen being nervous in their first start. Miscommunication. Can you pick up the changes up front that Notre Dame will throw at them?
Play clock running down here on 3rd and 8. Manuel. And he's able to get it out there, but it's incomplete. That was intended for Christian Green, but R.J. Blanton did a nice job defensively.
Yeah, he had to wait on that ball a little bit, but Blanton did a great job of fighting all the way through the end of the play. He's in man coverage. Now watch Blanton fight through this. He does not give up when he's beaten. He hangs in there, and he gets the ball out. That is great play. That is not giving up, even though you know the guy has the ball there. That's a great job.
So Sean Powell led the nation in overall punting, and net punting comes on. Michael Floyd, the return man for the Irish. And a big boot by Powell backs up Floyd to the 22. Able to get free. Block in front, and Floyd past midfield. Michael Floyd with a fine return to set up the Irish. It was Sean Powell, the punter, who had to bring him down.
Michael Floyd showing that he's got skills other than just as a straight inline receiver. He's got some shiftiness to him as he makes the first guy miss. And I don't know that we've seen Michael Floyd back there returning punts like that. Certainly not this season.
So here's Tommy Reese with prime field position. Was named the starter for the bowl after being pulled in that season finale at Stanford. Sierra Wood, his first carry. And he is wrapped up at the 33 by Terrence Parks. So Tommy Reese, as much as we talk about the fact that we're going to see 2 quarterbacks and some of his struggles, 12-3 as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's one. You know, his detractors will point to the losses and his inability to handle the ball in critical situations as you take a look at Hendricks, who is really a prospect, very physically gifted.
2nd and 6. And that is complete for a first down to the senior Floyd. So Notre Dame 8-4. They bounced back after those 2 losses early.
Played well until they ran into a USC team and had a critical turnover as they were going in for what could have been a game-changing score, and then finished up with Stanford, fell behind 21-0 before mounting a comeback.
First down at the 25. The pitch to Wood. And Wood gets to the 21-yard line. And that's where he was met by Vince Williams, the middle linebacker for Florida State.
Well, you watched the Notre Dame offense all season, and you can't help but come away thinking if they take care of the football a little bit better, they'll be okay. You know, they've got a couple big playmakers in Eifert and Floyd.
Eifert, the star tight end, number 80. Here's the pitch to Wood again on 2nd and 6. And Wood is going to be about 1.5 yards short of the sticks. Williams again with the tackle.
You know, Tess, as we prepared for this game and you looked at that offense, you recognize that they changed a little bit when they lost Jonas Gray. Big, powerful back who could run inside. They lost him to an injury, and they're less of an inside running team now.
Gray had 12 rushing touchdowns and was on pace for a 1,000-yard year. 3rd and 2 now. Wood. And he finds that small hole on the left side of the line and picks up the first down. LaMarcus Joyner, the free safety, came up to fill it. But a first down for Notre Dame.
A good, tough run inside by Wood, trying to lower his shoulder. He's not like Jonas Gray. He's not 225 pounds. He doesn't lower the shoulder the same way to finish runs. But he can be shifty inside and turn his body to pick up yardage.
In fact, he lost some weight, became a quicker back, 6 foot 215. So first down inside the 15. Reese, a little bit of pressure, and he cannot escape it at all. Everett Dawkins took him down.
Yeah, Dawkins, he doesn't get a lot of attention because of Jenkins on the outside, Warner on the outside. But inside, just watch the quickness of the 93 as he throws back his lineman trying to deal with him and gets by him. With this defensive front, you can't really double clutch the ball. You got to get rid of it quickly.
2nd and 17 now. Empty backfield for Tommy Reese. Over the middle, does get it complete to the 10-yard line. And he was able to find his star tight end, Eifert.
You have to keep Tommy Reese clean if you're going to throw the football. They bring only 4. And Notre Dame's able to pick him up and give him a throwing lane.
So a 3rd down and 6. Wood is in the slot. And he saw the defensive end take a step forward, and then the left tackle reacted.
Offside. Defense. Number 49. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Brandon Jenkins, who leads the team in sacks. Great pro prospect is Jenkins.
Well, right now, Florida State defense trying to find Michael Floyd. Xavier Rhodes trying to find him and line up with him. That's a good matchup.
So now Wood in the backfield for 3rd and 1. As Reese talked things over quickly. Here is Wood looking for that yard line to make, and he was stacked up. It's going to be very close. That was Anthony McLeod who made the tackle on Sierra Wood.
A pretty good job by the left side of that offensive line. They want to get behind number 70, Martin, who's their best lineman. Does a terrific job on the edge out there, creating some space for Sierra Wood.
And it is a first down, so a 1st and goal for Brian Kelly's offense. See the success they've had on opening possessions. Reese with time, batted and intercepted. LaMarcus Joyner And once again, the costly turnovers for Notre Dame in the red zone. Nigel Bredham batted it up in the air. Marcus Joyner in the right place at the right time. Florida State ball when we come back. Aerial coverage today is provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Scoreless here in the Champs Sports Bowl. That Florida State defense did it again. Marcus Joyner.
Let's go back to this touchdown pass. Man coverage, that's what Tommy Rees thinks he sees right there. So he wants to get the ball to Floyd, thinks he has that. In fact, what he's got is zone coverage by the linebackers inside. He gets fooled by it, doesn't get to it. He gets picked off. Great call by defensive coordinator Mark Stoops to confuse Rees down there.
It's been a sensational year by the Florida State defense. And meanwhile, Notre Dame all too conditioned to turnovers in the red zone. This is Freeman now. He loses the ball. It is scooped up by Mata, who returns it for the score. Manti Te'o forced the fumble, and Zeke was the streak right to the goal line.
Yeah, Te'o is out in single coverage. He does a good job of coming out and making the tackle, and that's a freshman just giving up the ball, and Zeke Mata is able to just walk into the end zone for the first points of the night.
And David Ruffer with the extra point. So dueling turnovers early, but 7 on the board for the Irish. 29-yard fumble return. Capital One Bowl Week continues tomorrow on ESPN, and it's going to start off at noon with the Bell Helicopter Armed Forces Bowl. You got Rutgers and Iowa State, Yankee Stadium and the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. Mississippi State and Wake Forest are going to hook up. And then the Insight Bowl is Iowa against Oklahoma.
All right, we got bowl week in full effect now.
E.J. Manuel waiting to get out there again.
Well, we've had nothing but turnovers early in this ball game. Tommy Rees picked off in the end zone. And then Florida State's freshman Devontae Freeman giving up the ball. And Zeke Mata taking it 29 yards for the touchdown.
Rashad Breed deep, set to return Kyle Brinza's kickoff. And here is Green from the end zone. And he gets it out to the 23. Well, Notre Dame this year, remember, it started early against South Florida and Michigan. The turnovers in the red zone.
Well, that's their season. And that tells you everything you need to know. 7 turnovers in the red zone. You don't do that. Maybe you win a couple of more games. You go back to this one in the first quarter. That ball gets tipped by Nigel Bredham. Picked off by Joyner.
Here's James Wilder now, and Wilder, the 6'2", 230-pounder, big-time recruit, goes ahead for about 2.5 yards. Of course, they found the solution to turnovers in the red zone, and that's get one of your own and bring it back for a score.
A little bit easier for that defense to waltz into the end zone instead of the offense trying to figure it out, I guess.
Manti Te'o, who announced that he's coming back for his senior year, forcing the fumble moments ago. All-American linebacker for the Irish. Wilder now in motion on 2nd and 7. E.J. Manuel. Pressure on Manuel, and he goes down. That was Jamoris Slaughter, who defensive coordinator Bob Diaco has big plans for tonight, Rod.
Yeah, Slaughter has moved down from that safety spot to the outside linebacker spot. You see him there in the frame, and watch what he does to Pryor. He just destroys him. He just destroys Pryor, who's supposed to be on blitz pickup, and nails Manuel. That's a big-time play.
Just tossed him aside and then got after E.J. Manuel.
That's violent. Whoa.
3rd and 11 now after the sack. Oh, and you saw the motion, and Aaron Lynch a little antsy in that front.
Offside. Defense. Unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Aaron Lynch is a freshman with a lot of upside from here in Florida. E.J. Manuel, after that last turnover, quite upset.
Well, he's working with this young team, a bunch of freshmen trying to get them back together, telling them to think and relax.
And now facing a 3rd and 6. Pressure up the middle again, and he goes down again. Teo right after him.
Up the middle, right? We talked about that young offensive line. 2 freshmen playing at the guard position. Left guard and right guard, and Teo and Lynch get in there. Here comes Teo right there. You'll see him run on a stunt with Lynch, and they just destroy the interior of that line where you've got 3 freshmen, 2 guards and a center.
So Powell now back at the 1-yard line to punt as Michael Floyd stands ready near the 30. And he gets the fair catch at the 36, regretting that he did. He thought he had some green space in front of him.
Well, you know, Michael Floyd, that's his 2nd punt return of the season. They had 3 yards of returns this season, but Monte Teo, he knows how to get things done as their defense is stepping up big time already against Florida State.
ESPN College Football, the Champs Sports Bowl, is brought to you by Champs Sports. For the hottest brands in athletic footwear, apparel, fan gear, hats, and more, visit champsports.com. Dove Men Plus Care. And Ford. Drive one.
Champs Sports Bowl pep rallies for both schools were yesterday afternoon at Points, Orlando. It's been a fabulous week of anticipation for this game with these 2 programs meeting up here in Orlando. Notre Dame defense, they were getting after E.J. Manuel. So now Tommy Reese and that offense with another opportunity. Theo Riddick with his first carry. Holly?
Well, after Tommy Reese threw that interception in the red zone, Coach Brian Kelly brought him over, and he was down on his knees right on the whiteboard. Now, keep in mind, they lost their offensive coordinator to go to UMass for head coaching job, Charlie Molnar. Even though Brian Kelly calls the plays, he's much more involved in this game in drawing things up for the players. His point to Tommy Reese, we had 2 guys open. You've got to go over the top of the defense. You can't throw into the heart of this outstanding front 7 for Florida State.
Yeah, Holly's been stressing that all week. Here's Reese now on 2nd and 8, and he does get it complete to Theo Riddick. It's going to be about 1.5 yards short of the first down sticks, covered by Xavier Rhodes. You know, Brian Kelly was talking to us yesterday, and Holly said, I've learned to be a little more patient.
Yeah.
When he talks about Tommy Reese.
Well, I think that's right. I mean, we've all seen those images this season where he got frustrated on the sidelines and really took it to Reese and others. And he said he's learned from that, and he's trying to be a much more patient coach, particularly with the quarterbacks.
3rd and 1. To pass on 3rd and 1. Takes a shot downfield and overthrows Michael Floyd.
And that is a matchup that we will watch all night, because when you go one-on-one with Michael Floyd, you are really rolling the dice. And Notre Dame has to hit this. He's up against Rhodes. Rhodes is a big corner, 6'2", 210. That's a great matchup, but Michael Floyd had him. Michael Floyd was open, and Reese has got to hit that play.
Ben Turk, nephew of NFL veteran Matt Turk, on to punt, and Greg Reed to receive. And the return for Florida State calls for the fair catch and secures it at the 11-yard line. Here in Orlando, not far away from the Magic Kingdom, Cinderella's Castle. See if Florida State can make some offensive magic when we return. 7-0 Notre Dame on top here in the Champs Sports Bowl over Florida State. Reminds you of what happened back in 1993. It was the game of the last century back then. Coach Holtz bringing out his #2 ranked Irish against #1 Florida State. Jeff Burris, the touchdown run. They were up 14. But Charlie Ward and Florida State. The tip ball, the touchdown, Kes McCorvey. That was 4th and 20. It was 31-24. It all came down to this. One last chance. The Irish would become #1. Well, you remember what happened a week later when they were upset in a classic game against Boston College.
Yeah.
And Florida State would go on to win the national title with their victory in the Orange Bowl. James Wilder. And Wilder wrapped up that time by Manti Te'o.
Well, Florida State has had issues on offense. Their last 5 plays, not very good. Fumble, short run, sack. They are 113th in protecting the quarterback. They've given up 38 sacks this season.
Remember, freshman from right tackle to left guard, and then the senior at left tackle. Play action on 2nd and 6. Manuel being chased again, looking to escape. And he's going to tuck it and run it out to the 13-yard line. Finally chased down by Aaron Lynch. The initial pressure came from Jamoris Slaughter coming all the way around.
Well, right now, this is too big for those freshman linemen. I mean, Notre Dame's attacking them and coming after them, and they can't handle this. The adjustment now for Florida State's got to be, you got to find a way to get them confident. You got to do 3-step, get rid of the ball quickly. You got to go back to the power game, give them a chance to, sort of fire out. And that was a tackle that they all had to be careful about. You get the back of the power, you can get that flag. But
3rd and 4, play clock down to 2 seconds. And we will get the timeout called here, and we'll take a break with them.
An Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
We are the University of Notre Dame.
Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe with you here in Orlando for the Champs Sports Bowl. 3rd down and 4. E.J. Manuel. Pressure again. And this goes incomplete. That front 5 is struggling against the Irish defense.
Yeah, they can't protect him. And they're trying to block him with 5 and use 4 and 5 receivers out. But to keep Manuel upright, they're going to have to find a way to keep another back in, bring another tight end, keep a tight end in. But you can't let your quarterback just get pounded play after play. just like Tuitt did on that one.
So Sean Powell comes back out. 10 plays, only 7 yards, and no first downs for the Noles. Floyd off the hop and then immediately out. The pressure from Notre Dame. It's been the story early on.
They have been bringing it, Tess. Check it out. They bring the blitz with Teo up front, right through the area where there's a freshman center. They stunt. They bring the pressure from the outside with Slaughter, who's playing linebacker spot instead of his normal safety spot. They have been coming after that Florida State offensive line filled with those 4 freshmen and being as aggressive as we've seen Notre Dame play defensively all season.
Andrew Hendricks now getting his turn at quarterback. Sierra Wood. And Wood is chased down just over the 40-yard line by Joyner. Check in with Holly.
Well, I listened to Florida State coach Jimbo Fisher talk to his young offensive line as they're sitting over here on the sideline. One of the problems, guys, is communication. He's saying you've got to decide who's taking who. They were talking about Jose Matias not taking the right guy. Number 5, Manti Te'o, coming through the line. Is right now it's just as simple as identifying who's taking who and communicating it to your teammate.
Back to basics, Holly, here in a bowl game.
Yep, that's what happens with youngsters on the field. A lot of stuff going on.
And speaking of youngsters, here's the redshirt freshman Hendricks now to pass on 2nd and 7. And he puts it up, and it's incomplete just off the hands of T.J. Jones, who was covered well by Mike Harris.
Yeah, nice play by Harris, but I was really impressed with the fact that they turned Hendricks loose. Normally he's in there to run the football. Kelly said he'd have the full package, and look at him going deep down the field with him right off the bat. Hendricks, powerful arm, 220 pounds, more athletic than Reese. He can run it, he can throw it. He's inexperienced out of Moeller High School. That's been a factory for high school football.
And so there's no set package for him tonight. He's going to run the whole offense. He showed you a downfield strike there. But the incompletion makes for a 3rd and 7 now. And the play clock was running down there, so a timeout called by Brian Kelly and the Irish as he talks things over with Andrew Hendricks. Hendricks came into the game against Stanford, played fairly well, threw for 192 yards, had a touchdown pass, had a touchdown run. He's facing a 3rd and 7 here when he gets back out onto the field. ESPN's new football game. You're the most explosive player on the field, the return man. You can hit the gap, break tackles, take it to the house. Play for free at ESPNReturnMan.com.
Michael Floyd got his chance to be a return man tonight for the first time this season. Notre Dame came into the game with 3 return yards and punt returns, and Michael Floyd busted off a 41-yarder, his first punt return.
That set up the Irish in good position, but then there was the interception in the end zone. Their 7 points came from that Zach Mata 29-yard fumble return. 3rd and 7 now. Sierra Wood in the backfield with Hendricks. And this is complete right down the seam to Eifert. And he was down at the 44-yard line after taking that hit. But what a target is Tyler Eifert, who led the nation receptions for a tight end.
Yeah, he gets a free release, but he gets pounded here. And look at the shot that Joyner delivers on him. And Eifert goes right to the sideline.
Saw that knee hit the ground.
Yeah, but the whistles have to come faster, you know what I mean? You don't want a guy getting another hit.
Sierra Wood now. He's trying to find a few yards against the interior of that defense, but he was met by Dan Hicks. And it was a 15-yard reception on that 3rd and 7 to Eifert.
Well, and they need him. 59 catches. He's a young man thinking about whether he wants to return next year or head to the NFL. And you know what we'd say about that.
Well, we had a discussion with Brian Kelly about it. He filed the paperwork, get his evaluation from the NFL, said to make his decision after this game. Here's Hendricks on 2nd and 8, and to the outside corner And that is a reception to T.J. Jones. Good effort by Jones to concentrate to bring that ball in. Mike Harris was all over.
But what about the throw? And that's a nice, long, cross-the-field throw by Hendricks. I'm not sure Tommy Rees can make that throw.
So Hendricks showing a little something here with the throw to Eifert and then connecting to the outside to T.J. Jones. As Tommy Rees is off on the sideline. 3rd and 1 now. Design quarterback run, and Hendricks gets it and more. A first down for Notre Dame at the 27.
Now, you're beginning to see why Brian Kelly is enamored with this young man. He's much more of a fit with the type of offense Kelly likes to run. He looks a little bit like Zach Collaros at Cincinnati.
Who had so much success.
Exactly. He was great for Kelly. Kelly likes the quarterback run game, and he likes to have the strong arm quarterback who can throw the ball down the field and across the field.
Wood just gobbled up and cut down in the backfield that time by Telvin Smith.
Athletic, fast defense. Telvin Smith is one of those incredibly athletic linebackers. There he is. Watch him come knifing through. Anticipation of the snap count. Great quickness and speed.
How about Mark Stoops, where he told us about Smith? He said he just has weird athletic ability. He's got that wiggle and those natural instincts. Perfect example of it there. 2nd and 15. Hendricks right into the ground in front of the feet of Michael Floyd.
Yeah, well, he can thank Brian Kelly for that one, because Brian Kelly said all week, you know what? If I were Florida State, I'd blitz Hendricks. Stanford did it and affected him. And guess what Florida State did that time? They blitzed him.
Remember, Stanford brought so much pressure against Hendricks, and it was a different story, the success he had when he had time compared to the pressure that the Cardinal defense brought against him. Let's see if they get after him here on 3rd and 15.
He's got to be careful. You don't want to take sacks around here. You have the potential for a 4th down play or a field goal.
Hendricks gets it out to Toma, and he is wrapped up just short of the 30-yard line. That was Greg Reed, who came in and tackled Robbie Toma.
This defense flies around, and they're actually pitching a shutout. It's the Florida State offense that gave up the touchdown on a fumble recovery taken in for the score by Zeke Mata.
Career long of 52 for David Ruffer. This from 47. Officially a 48, they're listing it as. And it was off to the right. The former walk-on, who is in the midst of a consistent season, puts it off to the right here in the final seconds of this first quarter.
Well, Brian Kelly had the right call on 3rd down to give them a shot at coming away with some points instead of being pushed back out of field position, and they just pushed it off.
Pitch to Freeman. Remember, he fumbled earlier. Picks up a good block from the receiver. A flag comes in late. Maybe too good. Rodney Smith was out in front trying to pave the way for the true freshman Devontae Freeman.
Well, Florida State has a speed advantage, and they want to use it at every opportunity. And Freeman, you know, you saw him make some moves to the outside there when he should just fly, just go. That's what the coaches want him to do. Trust your speed.
There is no foul on the play. The block in question was legal. Result of the first down.
Good explanation by Reggie Smith and our Big 12 crew tonight. So just a second left in the first quarter. A quarter with so many offensive struggles for Florida State.
That's the end of the first quarter. Your score, Notre Dame 7, Florida State
Only 18 yards of offense for the Noles. The fumble return for the Irish. They lead it 7-0. Champs Sports Bowl, Florida State and Notre Dame. 7-0 Irish here in Orlando. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe with you from a sold-out Citrus Bowl stadium. Option to the far side. Manuel keeps it and then was met that time by Zeke Mata, who had the touchdown earlier.
Big-time programs. Big comparison. Bobby Bowden, Lou Holtz, first season of football, long time ago for Notre Dame. National titles, Notre Dame way ahead. Bowl wins, not so shabby. Heisman Trophy winners, just a couple for Florida State. 7 for Notre Dame.
Well, the 1940s and 50s treated them well. And of course, Timmy Brown in '87. All started with Andrew Bartelli back in 1943. 2nd and 7. And over the middle, and that is complete that time to Christian Green, and he slid down there at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, Tess, I'm really intrigued with Jamora Slaughter. The fact that they've moved him, Notre Dame has moved him from the safety spot to the linebacker spot. He's been active. They've blitzed him, and they're using him in the run game. He's not a big guy, you know, but they're taking a chance with that, and it's worked out for him, and he's been able to hold up against the rushing attack.
Bob Diaco had so much confidence, the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, of how he could play a role against the run game, and we saw him just shed a would-be blocker earlier and get after the quarterback. 3rd and 5 now. And that is Greg Dent in motion. Manuel now pressure again, turns away from it downfield, and that was nearly intercepted by Slaughter.
Yeah, they can't block him. They get a flag out there. Looks like a late hit.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 55. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Yeah, they're having trouble protecting Manuel when only 4 are rushing. And Prince Shimbo, a little frustrated, takes a clear late hit, sloppy. Now watch, if he doesn't do this, Slaughter, who's all over the place, makes a play. He has a chance to come up with a pick. I mean, he's got coverage skills and the ability to play good run defense. Yeah, well, look at that. He's unhappy about it. He needs to find Prince Shimbo and say, come on, man.
Now, what a night Slaughter is off to here, but Florida State, the 15-yarder, stay on the field inside the 40. First down. Freeman with the call this time, and Freeman not able to find much. There's Swinar.
Well, this offense has struggled to run the football. They are 99th at 118 yards a game rushing on the season, and youngsters up front. Swinar for Notre Dame in on the play.
Real hard worker at the nose guard position for them. Jimbo Fisher looking for a few answers with this offense. They only bring 3 this time. Manuel gets it complete, a yard short of the sticks to Kenny Shaw. Holly?
Well, when we talked with defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, Bob Diaco, he was taking a risk moving Slaughter up to that, what he called overhang outside linebacker position. So he has a GA up in the booth. His only job tonight is to keep his eyes on Slaughter and make sure that it's working. Guys, I don't think his job's that hard right now because I think it's pretty easy to say. They called him an inspector. I think the inspector for Slaughter should be pretty happy.
That graduate assistant is Mike Painter, and yeah, it's A+ right now. Here's 3rd and 1 now. Oh, and once again, and you see Manuel pointing over at the Notre Dame defense, but the inexperience up front for Florida State.
Full start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Well, they're going to actually call that against the senior Sanders.
Yeah, just to follow up on Holly's point about Slaughter. And the idea was to get Slaughter in position to play against the 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. And to make sure that he was okay in the run aspect of it. And they thought he could hold up with it. And so when they throw the ball, they're fine. They want to make sure that if Florida State pounds the football, that Slaughter can hang in there and deal with that.
Only 16 rush yards so far tonight. Play clock down to double zeros.
Prior to the snap, second charge, timeout, Florida State, 30-second timeout.
So they were able to get the timeout called there. It will be a 3rd and 6 from just inside the 35 when we return.
Limits inspire the limitless. Levi LaValle, redefining redemption. Robbie Madison, flying 400 feet. Red Bull, new year, no limits.
So Rod, new year, no limits. Robbie Madison, Levi LaValle looking for the world record motorcycle jump and snowmobile jump. Simultaneous jumps out in San Diego on New Year's Eve on ESPN.
You'll be there.
Yes.
You're always there.
I go from this, where Florida State's trying to jump forward 6 yards, to that. 3rd and 6, Manuel. Can he escape it? Throws it out there. Gets it complete somehow right at the line to make, but a flag is down at the 42. So let's get the ruling.
Is that the quarterback was down by contact. There is no pass. It's 4th down.
So another sack for the Notre Dame defense.
And that sack pushes Florida State out of field goal range and out of the possibility of a 4th down play. Stephon Tuitt is the guy who gets in to make the sack. He's on the top of the screen there, coming from the right side. You see him just beat his man as he once again works against a freshman, Bobby Hart, and beats him to get there. There is the knee, completely down. No question, great call by the officials.
Great look there at the knee down. They were in that no man's zone where maybe it was 2 down territory, but now backed up as that offensive line gives way again. John Goodman now back, and Sean Powell to punt one more time for the Noles. And it does bounce into the end zone for the touchback. All right, let's tell you what you're in store for Saturday as Capital One Bowl week continues. We've got the Meineke Car Care Bowl. Texas A&M's taking on Northwestern on ABC. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl. 2 coaches that had a fine year with James Franklin and Butch Jones meeting up. Cincy and Vandy. Kraft Fight Hunger Bowls on ESPN at 3:30. And then the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Virginia against last year's national champs Auburn. That's also available on ESPN 3D.
Glad you mentioned James Franklin. What he did at Vandy this year. Great job. Here's Tommy Reese.
So Hendricks came in. Reese now back in there. Had that interception in the end zone, the tip ball early on. And now once again the play clock running down. So both offenses having trouble getting these plays off. 4 timeouts burned between them.
ESPN College Football, the Champs Sports Bowl, is brought to you by Champs Sports. For the hottest brands in athletic footwear, apparel, fan gear, hats, and more, visit champsports.com. Prudential. See what the first day of retirement feels like at day1stories.com. Prudential. Bring your challenges. And the Lexus December to Remember sales event for a limited time at your Lexus dealer.
That's the 5th annual Champs Sports Bowl Parade of Bands in Winter Park, just outside Orlando. Florida Citrus Sports Group does such a great job with the 2 bowl games they have down there. Of course, the Capital One Bowl game coming up between Nebraska and South Carolina on January 2nd. Theo Riddick tries to muscle and spin his way forward for 3 yards. Holland?
Well, we've seen both quarterbacks for both teams really struggling to see the play clocks here, guys. In this stadium, both play clocks are placed very far to the left of the field of competition and very low. I heard E.J. Manuel complaining earlier that he couldn't see the play clock. Coach Brian Kelly was frustrated with Reese. Why aren't you managing that better? Guys, I think it's hard to find right now. A very unusual placement.
2nd and 7. Riddick with blockers in front, trying to get to the edge, and finally he was pushed out by LaMarcus Joyner.
Yeah, you see the speed of that defense. Joyner at that safety spot comes flying over. Yeah, he's not the biggest free safety you'll find out there at 5'8", 200 pounds. But he has great instincts, great athleticism. He was a top recruit when he came out a couple years ago.
You know, to Holly's point about the frustration with the play clock, Rod, I would say that's what the walkthrough is here. You're a starting quarterback. You come out here, you look over the stadium, you find where the play clock is.
You got warm-ups, too.
Yep. 3rd and 3 now. Good insight by Holly there. And here's Theo Riddick, and he is going to be just short of that line to make. Telvin Smith and Christian Jones came in for the tackle.
That's where they really miss Jonas Gray.
Of course, Gray, the big 235-pound back, who was lost for the season, an injury he suffered. He's having a big year. Sierra Wood been taking on the role of feature back. And Theo Riddick, who played receiver earlier this year and then moved back to the backfield. So 4th down, and Greg Reed will be back to handle Ben Turk's punt.
Dangerous punt returner, led the nation last year.
And Reed, they were right on top of him that time. That was Austin Collinsworth with the special teams tackle, the son of Chris Collinsworth, former Bengals star and NFL analyst.
Well, we talked about this matchup with Xavier Rhodes against Michael Floyd. He's similar in size, and he's had a pretty good impact on this game. He's done press coverage and been physical with Floyd. And when Floyd has had a chance to retaliate and block him, he has. They've been going at it all night. Floyd has not been able to get deep yet against Rhodes.
1 catch for 8 yards for Floyd. Manuel now. And he gets it complete to Kenny Shaw, who's from right here in Orlando.
The Florida State fans are wondering when the offense is going to come around. They're coming off that Florida game where the offense had 95 total yards.
Won that game 21-7.
There's Michael Floyd on the sideline. He's been thrown to 4 times tonight, only 1 reception. Brian Kelly can't be happy with that.
Option to the near side, and Manuel just about 1.5 yards that time. Anti-tail with the tackle. Junior from Hawaii, who was projected to be a 1st-round NFL draft pick, but has announced that he will come back for his senior year at Notre Dame.
That's really cool. I think that when Andrew Luck decided last year that being the top pick in the draft was not more important than coming back and getting his degree, I think it made it cool and okay for other guys to do it now.
Matt Barkley at USC.
Yep.
I'll wait to see what happens with the Heisman winner, Robert Griffin III, who you will see later tonight in the Valero Alamo Bowl. Pressure again, this time Lonnie Pryor was able to get that ball, and he gets it to the 40-yard line. But E.J. Manuel's just hoping for the best sometimes when he drops back.
Well, you know, I'm sure he says to the lineman, hey, guys, you know, on a screen pass, yeah, we're supposed to let them in, but not that fast. Now watch, really, the pressure. Mata comes in. It's a blitz from the outside. They're running the screen to the opposite side. Manuel takes it to the very last second, and Lonnie Pryor does enough to get them a respectable 3rd down. Might be manageable. So you see one more hit by Mata on Manuel.
Going to be a long night for E.J. Manuel, having to keep getting up, even if you do make some of these completions. 3rd and 4. Lofts it to the near side, and he had Kenny Shaw.
Well, but Manuel's jittery. You know, he's not getting his feet set back there. He's not confident in his protection, and therefore his accuracy is off. And he's got his guy out there and shot, but watch him in the pocket. Watch his footwork. He's not comfortable. He doesn't really step into the throw, and he doesn't do a good job of it. Jackson on the coverage out there, but Manuel's got to throw that ball better. But he has no confidence in his protection right now.
And they're going to fake it. The up back. Right at that line to make. It'll depend on the mark. It was Chad Abram, who's a backup fullback, on the fake punt.
Well, there you see our first down marker, which is generally accurate.
But unofficial.
Yep.
And yellow line's just a TV toy, folks. They're going to bring out the chains. Chad Abrams, who played safety and then came over to the offensive side of the ball for Jimbo Fisher on special teams on a 4th and 4. We'll see if he got it.
Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. You're 8-4. This is your bowl game. You've had a few weeks off. Nothing wrong with taking the gamble.
He's short by a couple of lengths. Notre Dame is going to take over when we return. The trickery didn't work. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Just a beautiful night here in Orlando. Celebrating its 7th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets. Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. And to date, Allstate has contributed more than $2.6 million in those scholarship monies. So Notre Dame takes over after Florida State came up just a few inches short on the fake punt attempt by Chad Abram. Tommy Reese downfield. Floyd right off his hands. The big target, Michael Floyd, right down the hash marks. But they couldn't connect.
Well, we said that Reese has got to make this throw. In the first quarter, he missed it. He puts enough air underneath it. Floyd has to make that catch. Reese did his job. Offensive line protected. And Tommy Reese has every reason to be unhappy with that.
Sierra Wood now. And just about a yard there for Sierra Wood. So it'll be a 3rd and long. What a missed opportunity for Michael Floyd, who holds the school record for receiving yards and receptions and touchdown catches.
Well, Brian Kelly told us yesterday that on his call sheet, he has a section for Floyd to make sure he gets touches. He's only had 1 touch from the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 9 now. Reese steps up, incomplete. He threw it behind Toma. So they walk off the field after that missed opportunity by Michael Floyd. In terms of projecting Floyd ahead, Rod, the senior going to be off to the NFL.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's behind the guy to the left, Justin Blackman, who's a top receiver in college football and will likely be the first wide receiver off the board in the draft. But Michael Floyd is right behind him, and I think most projections have him as a late 1st round pick.
Of course, we'll see Alshon Jeffrey right here with South Carolina and Nebraska in the Capital One Bowl. That other receiver you saw there, Greg Reed, now on the return. And Reed looking for some open space. And a gritty return out to the 31. Here's Ryan Burr in the studio.
All right, thanks, Joe. Here's your Sports Center right now. Patriots quarterback Tom Brady limited in practice today with a left shoulder injury. The left shoulder is not considered severe enough to prevent him from playing Sunday. This according to Adam Schefter. The Cowboys' Tony Romo did practice for a 2nd straight day with a bruised right hand. He wore a wrap on the head. Jason Garrett says he was fairly functional in practice. Sports Center currently on ESPN News. Joe T.
All right, thanks, Ryan. See James Wilder in the backfield. Play action, manual, maybe that slows the pass rush a bit. And he connects. Wide open down to the 45-yard line is Kenny Shaw.
Kenny Shaw came from across the field, across the formation to get open. Here's a look at him. He'll run all the way across the field against his zone and find the soft spot. They know Notre Dame prefers to play zone coverage, and because he had plenty of time, Manuel, better footwork, plenty of time, and good touch on that throw.
James Wilder now trying to get to that edge, and he's taken down by Aaron Lynch and Manti Te'o. Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, Monday, January 2nd, 8:30 on ESPN. Number 4 Stanford, number 3 Oklahoma State. It's also available on ESPN Radio and ESPN3. Ron, when I look at the bowl list, I've said this to you now for a couple weeks.
Yep.
This is the game that gets me going right here.
Yeah.
Those two offenses, Stanford and Oklahoma State.
That might be the most entertaining, most exciting game of the bowl season.
Looking forward to that one. Right here, we got a defensive struggle. 2nd and 8. Manuel, and he goes down again, and Jamoris Slaughter, what a night he's having, Ron.
He's becoming a star. That's the second time they've blitzed him. Tonight, special package for him. They moved him from the free safety spot to the linebacker, weak side linebacker spot, and they've turned him loose. That's his 2nd sack tonight. He's made a number of other plays, almost had a pick. He's really been the defensive standout for Notre Dame.
And that was Bob Diaco's intention. And it's paid off. Game planning to put Slaughter in good position. Now a 3rd and 14. They've been sacked 4 times, have the Noles. Complete, but well short of the line to make to James Wilder.
How frustrating has tonight been for Manuel? 15 drop back attempts, and almost half the time, about half the time, he's been knocked on his back.
And this is a good athlete, a natural runner, a guy who's elusive, but with those 4 freshmen starting on the offensive line, it has been a struggle against the Notre Dame defense.
Bodes well for Florida State for next year. A lot of depth, a lot of talent, and an incoming recruiting class that could be the number 2 class in the country.
Powell with a high launching punt, but it sails a little too far. Just over 3 minutes to play in the first half. That fumble return still the difference. Alongside Rod Gilmore and Holly Rowe, Joe Tessitore with you here at the Champs Sports Bowl in Orlando. Brian Kelly working hard tonight, Rod.
He's coaching guys up on the sideline as he's wearing 2 hats, head coach and offensive coordinator. The more patient side of having to deal with multiple quarterbacks tonight. Sometimes good, sometimes a little frustration.
He's been doing it for a long time, carrying a heavy workload. Remember back at Grand Valley State, won a couple national titles, had a very limited coaching staff at the Division II level. There's the inside handoff to Theo Riddick, and he's out just past the 23, tackled by Jernigan.
You know, the quarterback situation at Notre Dame is interesting for tonight and for next season. We've seen Reese and we've seen Hendricks. They may also have Everett Golson in the mix come next spring.
He's a freshman who's expected to compete for the job. Reese now, and Reese gets it complete to Floyd. And Floyd had that drop last time out there. There is Everett Golson.
Talented young man, boy.
Big arm, very bright future. Talented in other ways as well.
Yeah, did a nice job the other day at the luncheon, playing the piano and thrilling the crowd. But he's got great feet and a strong arm.
Reese, pressure came. He was able to secure that ball right at the end as he was in the grasp of Bjorn Werner, the big guy from Germany. His 7th sack of the season.
He does a great job here. Warner coming around the edge to get there. You'll see him to the right side, but you've got to get rid of the football too. He steps up a little bit, but Reese has got to be aware of when that's got to happen. He's got to get rid of it, but it's too late, and he almost lost that football.
2nd and 14 now. Reese overthrew Toma. Holly, what more can you tell us about Everett Golson?
Well, I know that if he's half as talented playing football as he is playing the piano, that Notre Dame fans will be very happy. He's been playing piano since he was about 5 years old, guys. He plays multiple instruments, and listen to this. He played about 5 different songs, Christmas carols. And then he got up and danced, guys, so his feet are just as good as those hands.
See if he's dancing out in the field next year. 3rd and 14. Reese, quick strike, but Floyd is wrapped up back at the original line of scrimmage by Xavier Rhodes.
Right now, Rhodes has won that matchup. He's done the better job in his matchup with Floyd. And Floyd dropped one that he should have had, but Rhodes, by and large, has done a good job being physical and making tackles. He's got a lot of cushion here because he knows the first down marker is far, far, far down the field. That's a good tackle.
Florida State uses a timeout, 1:29 remaining. Let's check in with Ryan.
All right, Joe, coming up on the H&R Block halftime report, I'll be joined by Mark May and Lou Holtz. We'll discuss the first half between the Seminoles and the Irish. Look ahead to tonight's Valero Alamo Bowl. Baylor and Washington relive Baylor's best moments of the year and go back to 1993 when Florida State and Notre Dame met as 1 versus 2, and Coach Holtz was on the sidelines. We'll see you at the half, guys.
Oh, yes. Being on the road with Coach Holtz this year for a few games. We've had some fond stories of back what happened in '93, as well as maybe he can entertain folks with his regaling of bookstore basketball wars.
Oh, yeah.
Back in South Bend. And his stacked team full of ringers. Ben Turk now on to punt. Rugby style, gets a good spiral on that punt. And Reed secures it just inside the 20. So that leaves 1:21 on the clock. Coming up on January 2nd, the Capital One Bowl, Nebraska and South Carolina. Rod, we're going to be down here calling that game, 1 o'clock on ESPN. Should be a good matchup. Both teams run the ball well. A lot of talented defensive players. A Nebraska fan who's here a bit early. Your expectations for that game we'll have here.
I think it's going to be great, and it's one of those SEC Big Ten matchups that, you know, we talk about, and we need to find out the measuring stick. Is the Big Ten ready to hang with the SEC? We talk about it every year.
Should be a good one, Nebraska and South Carolina. See what E.J. Manuel can do here with a limited time, and he gets it complete out to Kenny Shaw. So that leaves 1:16. Remember now, we had the issue with the play clock, so they had to burn a couple of timeouts, and then they called a timeout to manage the clock here before that 4th down. So no timeouts for Florida State.
$1:16 is enough time for them to move the football, but the issue has been protecting Manuel. You can't run a 2-minute drill if you can't protect the quarterback and get the ball out on time.
I formation with Freeman as the tailback. Play action. They do pick up the blitz that time. Down the middle it is. Oh boy, that was almost intercepted by Mata, but he could not hold on as he came down.
He was all over that play. That should have been a pick. And Mata's right there, comes over and takes the ball away from Kenny Shaw. I mean, watch him attack the ball. That's it. He had that ball coming down and then tried to put it away, lost it, and that would have set Notre Dame up with the shot to get more points.
Remember, Mata had the 29-yard fumble return for a touchdown in the first quarter. Both offenses struggling. These defenses have really stepped up. They've had good seasons. And now Manuel searching for something. Quickly gets it out, and that was incomplete as he couldn't find Rashad Green. Florida State offense with that goose egg. Got to go back to November of '09 against Florida the last time they were held scoreless in the first half of a game.
So, you know, Fisher got a lot of heat after the Florida game when they had 95 total yards, and folks wondered whether he was too conservative or if it's too much for him to call plays and be the head coach.
0 for 6 on third downs. Here's a 3rd and 10. Gonna have to stretch for it. And Rodney Smith, that second effort.
And did they mark him down? Yeah, that's the second time we've seen. Now this one.
Yeah, they're going to mark him down there at the 45.
Yeah, and I think that's the right call and a good call. I mean, to me, that's a safety issue too. You know.
Jimbo wants an explanation, but let's look here. Watch the knee.
Well, he's, yeah, his thigh is down. I think he almost set down completely. But see, I think this is the right call, and he touches bottom to turf. That's a good call.
Quickly bounced up and tried to extend the play.
But here's the safety thing. You leave a guy in a vulnerable position if you don't blow the whistle there. And if you say that guy is still alive, you can't fault defenders for coming up taking shots. And that's exactly what would happen. They'd flag him if they hit the guy at that point if he's defenseless.
Notre Dame used their last time out there, leaving 44 seconds in the 4th and 2. Tomorrow on ESPN, Capital One Bowl Week continues. It's going to start with BYU and Tulsa in the Bell Helicopter Armed Forces Bowl. And it'll wrap up at 10 o'clock with the Insight Bowl, Iowa against number 14, Oklahoma. What a difference a few weeks made in the season for Oklahoma.
Yeah, you know, as we talk about next season and rankings and whatnot, we should be mindful of the fact that sometimes those things are off, because Oklahoma began the year as the #1 team in the country.
No, Florida State was number 6 preseason, top 25. And look at the struggles they have had. Sean Powell wants a punt. And he line drives this and gets a very good roll all the way inside the 5-yard line.
There's not much Notre Dame can do with that except take a knee.
Florida State with only 104 yards of offense. Notre Dame with only 92. And the fumble return, the difference on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and you know, they've had their quarterback issues this season. You know, Dane Chris started the season as the quarterback, was replaced by Tommy Rees, and he's since transferred to Kansas. And Rees has had to split time the last 2 games with Hendricks.
So they're going to let the clock run down. Gives us a chance to look at tonight's quarterback spotlight, brought to you by Dove Men Plus Care.
Yeah, different time, but you just look at the numbers and you go, wow, Rees done as well as Montana and Joe Theismann. But you have to remember, back then, the football was thrown way down the field. There was none of this high percentage passing.
We've seen Rees and Andrew Hendricks tonight. Here's Holly.
Hey, Coach Fisher, I know you can't turn them into sophomores for the second half, but what can you do with your guys up front to get some better protection?
At the end of the middle of the second quarter, they started getting their feet on the ground and getting their calls, and nervousness came out. Early, they turned some guys loose, and we had some plays to make. But, you know, but that's part of it. We kind of knew that going in. Now, I was pleased in the middle of the second quarter. We got better protection, did a couple little things. They jumped off sides one time. We got to cure that. But just relax, play a good second half. We started moving the ball, so we just got to go back to it and get a couple scores here in the second half.
And then I know he's under pressure, but what can EJ do a little bit better? He's been a little rattled.
Well, he's actually throwing the ball well. He made a mistake or two with the pressure. Sometimes it's not just say, I'm going to throw it away. I got pressure. Just go ahead and get rid of it. But we got to get a little bit of running game going to help, because we're hitting some passes. And if we get that going, we'll be all right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Sacked 4 times was E.J. Manuel, Florida State's quarterback. Zach Mota, the 29-yard fumble return for a touchdown, the only score we've had. Now let's join Ryan Burr back in the studio for the H&R Block halftime report. Notre Dame shutting out Florida State at the half, as we've been enjoying some of the halftime festivities here in Orlando at the Champs Sports Bowl.
presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
We welcome you back to the Champs Sports Bowl, part of ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week. A fumble return for a touchdown, the difference on the scoreboard. Florida State and Notre Dame, historically tradition-rich matchup, but offensively challenged indeed tonight, Rod.
Yeah, if you love offense, look away. It was a little bit ugly out there, really for both sides. You think about Florida State and the pressure that E.J. Manuel was under. Notre Dame got after him right at the start and never, ever let up. Monty Taylor was one of the guys who get into it, gets in there with a late hit, but that was emblematic of what was going on. But the Notre Dame offense struggled. They had less than 100 yards in the first half, and they really couldn't get the ball to Michael Floyd. I mean, Floyd had a chance early on, got deep, but dropped the ball. Only 3 catches for 23 yards from Michael Floyd. So offensively, both these teams have really been challenged. You look at the possessions, they almost matched that with punts, limited first downs, total yards. Are you kidding me?
Florida State was 0 for 7 on third down conversions. Didn't have a red zone scoring chance. Notre Dame had 1. There was an interception in the end zone. Great atmosphere, though, here at the Citrus Bowl Stadium. A sellout. A lot of memories going back to what happened in 1993. Two programs looking to take a step forward with high hopes in the coming years. Notre Dame getting the ball to start things off. George Atkinson III, the freshman speedster. Watch out for Atkinson. Just tripped up, though, beyond the 35-yard line. He did have 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns this year. That was Telvin Smith, who saved the day on special teams for Florida State. Holly?
Well, I caught up with Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly at the half and asked him how he evaluated his quarterback play in the first half, so what we could expect in the second. He said, you know, it wasn't a matter of evaluating them because we had some key mistakes. 2 drops on very critical plays, a turnover in the red zone off a deflection, a missed opportunity on a field goal, or they'd be sitting pretty good against a very good Florida State team. So it's not about the quarterback play. He said our big players have got to start making plays, particularly Michael Floyd.
Well, here is Wood, and Wood to the 42. Holly mentioned the drop passes, shockingly won by Michael Floyd, which would have been a big gainer, if not a touchdown downfield.
Well, when you look at the Notre Dame offense, the 2 guys that jump out are Floyd and Eifert. And those are the guys that have to get it done when you don't have much of a rushing attack. And you see 3 receptions, 23 yards, and that drop was a touchdown. That was a bomb.
Floyd, a guy who scouts in, gives a grade of 89-2, looking at a bottom of the first round kind of draft pick, the senior from Notre Dame. 2nd and 6, Reese with time, looking over his options, and then does throw it away.
Well, and you mentioned Reese.
Black came in late there at the very end. By the way, Greg Reed, the defensive back, that ball was thrown well to the outside, and he did come in and make contact with the receiver.
Yeah, well, the ball was thrown away, but I think they may be talking about whether Reed hit a defenseless guy.
It was Robbie Toma, the intended target, but Reese was throwing it away.
Well, it doesn't matter if you throw it away. If you hit a defenseless guy, that's a personal foul. And that's really a point of emphasis.
Although the pass was thrown out of bounds, personal foul, defense, number 5, unnecessary roughness, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, it's right here. I mean, that's what you need to see. Ball thrown away, and there you see big hit on Toma up high.
So a first down now. And he looks Floyd's way, and that is incomplete.
That's a big hit by Joyner.
Joyner and Rhodes both getting in there, and you see Rhodes grasping at his left knee. And most would agree that that is their best cover corner, Florida State's Xavier Rhodes.
Well, he's a big cover corner. He's only a sophomore who's really turning some heads of scouts playing the way he's playing Michael Floyd. And you see he and Floyd both go down over there. And that's Joyner coming over with the big hit.
is one of the key matchups that both teams have been focused in on in preparation for this game. The 6'2", 211-pound cornerback against the big 6'3", 224 wide receiver.
There are not a lot of big corners.
That's right.
When you're 6'2", 200+ pounds, and you can cover, you're going to go up the draft board really, really high when you're eligible. He's only a sophomore, but there are a lot of folks paying attention to the fact that he can run with a Michael Floyd and be physical with him.
You see him being helped up to his feet. Now, Mike Harris and Greg Reed are two other very good corners that Florida State has. Defense, obviously, the strength of the team. But Rhodes critical with this matchup tonight against Floyd. There's Mike Harris, the JUCO transfer, came in last year.
Well, the other point is that they've been able to use Rhodes, and they haven't had to use the smaller corners on Floyd. That changes when you have Rhodes out of the game.
Greg Reed goes 5'8". 2nd and 10. They are able to get it to Wood, and he is chopped down about 2 yards short of the line to make. Taken down just inside the 37. Michael Floyd comes back out on the field here for this 3rd down.
And where's the rushing attack? 26 yards in the first half by Notre Dame. And this is no man's territory. You can actually think in terms of 2 plays down here if you're Brian Kelly.
There's Harris up against Floyd now with Xavier Rhodes out. Reese to pass on 3rd and 3, and here is Michael Floyd. And a 1st down for the Irish to the 22. So they go right back to Floyd when he's matched up against the 5'11" Mike Harris.
Mike Harris on the stop for the Seminoles.
And now Andrew Hendricks comes into the game.
Well, look, there's nobody back here. They come with pressure. They leave it open. They run the crossing route because there's nothing in the middle. They know that everyone is chasing in man coverage, and it's best to run crossing routes when you have that.
So Hendricks comes in, and he sprints to the near side, tucks and runs, and does well with a 9-yard gain. Good block by Tyler Eifert, his tight end.
Well, that gives Notre Dame some form of a rushing attack. But Eifert does a nice job of blocking out there, you know, and that's one of the knocks on Eifert, is that he's a receiving tight end, but not a good blocker. That's why he's considered only a 3rd or 4th round pick.
2nd and 1. Hendricks again, and a 1st down for the Irish. Hendricks, a good runner. Redshirt freshman from Cincinnati. Had a 78-yard run in his Irish debut against Air Force. That was back on October 8th.
Remember, Tess, we talk about it all season long. You have to get touchdowns in the red zone. You want to be somewhere around 80%. Notre Dame coming into this ball game 68%, and they turned it over in the red zone their first time they got down there tonight.
Hendricks with another quarterback run, and this time he's able to get down to the 5-yard line.
And that's the halftime adjustment. The rushing attack with quarterback design runs with Hendricks. But now, now you come back with Reese. But now it's that zone read, a staple of Brian Kelly's spread offense. He wants to use the quarterback. He wants a running quarterback.
So a little change of pace with Hendricks. And they're down to the 5-yard line as Reese is back in. Looking for the fade to Floyd. Bobbled and caught for the touchdown. Michael Floyd stayed with it the whole way. Focused on the ball and finally secured it. Touchdown, Irish.
Now you notice we've got a 5'8" corner against 6'3" Floyd. Who's going to win that battle? He goes up and attacks the ball and takes it away from Reed. Rhodes is out of the ball game. Rhodes is the big corner who was able to play Floyd. Reed can't compete with that. Floyd just takes it away from him.
Well, I don't like the way that Greg Reed hit the back of his head when he came down at the end of that play, Rod. He was flipped over. Watch the back of his neck and his head going all the way up and crashing to the ground.
Well, he tried to get up there with Floyd, and Floyd's strength in taking the ball away from him turned Reed. Look how strong Floyd is. As he pulls the ball, he turns Reed, and Reed falls on the back of his neck and head.
That was scary right there. And Tommy Rees comes in at the end of that drive after Hendricks got them that prime field position.
Well, give Rees some credit for recognizing the mismatch right off the bat and then getting a little bit of support from Hendricks from the sideline. That's good to see. Good to see him.
You can see him actually shaking his head there, much like a fighter coming off the canvas. Greg Reed is slow to get up, but now walking things off. Remember, just moments ago, earlier on this Notre Dame touchdown drive, they lost Xavier Rhodes. It created a potential matchup problem. They go to it against the 5'8" Greg Reed, and now Reed injured there at the end of that play. So the Irish take a 14-0 lead. Great concentration by the senior Michael Floyd. 100th catch of his season, and it's a beauty. Going downfield again. Could it be? Unbelievable! RG3 does it again!
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
The guy with the Superman socks is coming up after the Champs Sports Bowl, the Valero Alamo Bowl, with the Heisman winner and those 12th-ranked Baylor Bears against Washington. Dave Cash, Chris Spielman, Quint Kesnick will have the call of RG3 against the Huskies.
Facing the number 99 rated scoring defense in the country. I'd say there's a pretty good chance RG3 is going to put on a show with Kendall Wright out there, who people overlook. He's played himself into a first-round pick.
Star receiver for the Bears, as the star receiver for the Irish just gave them a 14-0 lead. LaMarcus Joyner now. And Joyner, good return for Joyner. Can he get to the edge? Inside the 30 and finally taken down. Just what the Seminoles needed.
A change of direction. That run looked like it was designed to go to the right side, and Joyner reverses field. Watch, it's set up to go to the right side, and he says, and then trust your speed. Use your speed to outrun Notre Dame. That's what they preach all week long. Don't cut and make moves. Just trust your speed.
77-yard kickoff return. Manuel. And he gets it to James Wilder, a freshman running back. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, things are getting dicey for the Florida State secondary. I heard Greg Reed just tell one of his teammates he has no idea how he got hurt. He doesn't remember. It looks like he will not be able to return. The problem is his backup, Avis Comack, did not make the trip after an arrest for an alleged theft. So, guys, they are thin at cornerback. Xavier Rhodes is also out for the game with a sprained knee. So the possibilities are to move the strong safety Terrence Park over. We might see a freshman, Nick Wasom.
But now it's the offense looking for something. Wilder on the carry. It'll be 3rd and short, but the struggles on defense. Reed and Xavier Rhodes injured. There's Xavier Rhodes. You see them putting the ice pack on the left knee. He was matched up with Michael Floyd. Yeah. Floyd scored the touchdown going up against the 5'8" Greg Reed, who now was knocked out.
Yeah, well, he was winning against Michael Floyd. He was winning that matchup in the first half. So now Florida State defensively a real issue, but right now they got a big 3rd down in the red zone, a chance to get points and get back in the ball game.
3rd and 3 for E.J. Manuel. Kickoff return set them up, but can they take advantage? Pressure again. And he is wrapped up again. Aaron Lynch, the Florida native, the long, lean freshman who has such a bright future, draped all over E.J. Manuel that time.
And he's part of that defensive line that has a chance to be pretty special. You'll see pressure coming just about inside and out there. They do a nice job of being relentless. Lynch, athletic, doesn't give Manuel a chance to throw the ball away.
Dustin Hopkins has an explosive leg.
Wow.
Got a timeout here.
Wow. You never want to take sacks when you have a chance to come away with points. And that was a big sack. Great pressure by Notre Dame. Lynch inside, but he wasn't the only one. Louis Nitz was bringing pressure as well.
Florida State had to use a timeout, Rod, moments ago as Lynch celebrates as they were setting up for that field goal. I think the personnel issue. Aaron Lynch, who verbally committed to Notre Dame a year ago. He's one of the top recruits in the country. Decommitted, verbal to Florida State, and then signed with Notre Dame. There, he comes from Florida.
Yeah.
He's a fine-looking prospect.
Yep.
And it pays off for the Irish. This from 47, Dustin Hopkins. And the flag comes in. Referee Reggie Smith trying to clarify things.
Delay game, defense, using tactics designed to cause a false start. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
You know what I like about Reggie Smith from the Big 12 crew we have here tonight? He explains the calls very well. And that was a great explanation.
That might cost Notre Dame 3 points.
42-yard attempt now.
42 is easier than 47.
He's 5 for 6. Over 40 to 49 this year. And he just squeezes it in. So the 77-yard kickoff return results in 3 points for the Noles.
ESPN College Football, the Champs Sports Bowl, is brought to you by the Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet? The GMC Sierra. Now during the GMC holiday event, trade up to the best Sierra ever and get some of the best offers of the year. And Taco Bell. Think outside the box.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Glad you're with us here on a beautiful night in Orlando for the Champs Sports Bowl. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore and Holly Rowe. It's been a tough night for the Florida State offense. Notre Dame leading 14-3. Florida State just got on the board with a field goal. But we'll see what they do defensively here as they had their 2 top cornerbacks injured on that last drive.
Well, Notre Dame a chance to get George Atkinson III the ball again on this kick return, and he's got real track speed.
Sure does. Almost broke the last time he touched it. This time he's wrapped up just short of the 20. H&R block, never settle play.
You want to talk about not settling? Oh, Michael Floyd dropped this potential touchdown pass. Didn't settle for that. He comes right back and takes us away from Greg Reed to get Notre Dame its only offensive touchdown of the ball game.
Brian Kelly said he's the reason why he get into coaching what he's done the past year. He wasn't doing it the right way. He changed his life. And you see what he's done with the 100 receptions in a single season. Robbie Toma on the receiver screen, and Toma dives out to the 29-yard line. Michael Floyd, getting back to what we were just discussing, arrested for DUI last March, his third alcohol-related offense. Brian Kelly suspended him indefinitely from the team, so he needed to meet requirements in order to rejoin the team, and he did. He met those requirements, changed his life.
Well, yeah, he changed who he hung out with, and he moved into the dorm.
Theo Riddick. Oh, and he is tackled for a loss that time by Nigel Bretton. Holly?
Michael Floyd is amazing that he's even at Notre Dame. Guys, I've told this story before, but when he was in high school, he wanted to go to this expensive prep school, but he had to get a scholarship to go there. It was a school that was a feeder for Notre Dame. So he would ride the bus at 6 in the morning in Minneapolis, go over, help clean the school as a janitor, clean the weight room to earn that scholarship, and it helped him get to Notre Dame.
Building that character as a young man. That is complete that time to Tyler Eifert. And let's see where they spot this ball here, as you see the Florida State coaches pointing in a certain direction. But he had his forward progress well ahead of that 30.
Yeah, the ball was beyond the first down marker. They'll get that. But, you know, just to follow up on the point about Michael Floyd and what Holly said and all the hard work he did to get to Notre Dame, then he lost his way for a while.
That's right.
And now he seems to have gotten it back. And if he's going to be drafted high in the NFL, character matters. And so those guys are going to want to know that what he's been showing lately is the real Michael Floyd, what he had when he was in high school.
Number 2 on some draft projections right now. Theo Riddick with a good run to the far side, and another first down for Notre Dame. Talk about where he ranks all time. Well, that right-hand column, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, he's done an awful lot there. I'm not sure that I would still. Nah, I can't do it. I can't put him ahead of Tim Brown. No, can't possibly do it.
1987 Heisman Trophy winner, went on to have such a great NFL career. Tommy Reese, inside handoff, and once again a good hard run by Theo Riddick.
That's the first sign of a rushing attack by Notre Dame other than the quarterback. And 26 yards in the first half rushing. Good blocking up front in the middle of there. How about Mike Golick Jr. at the center spot, doing a little double team and then coming off and getting the linebacker. Nice blocking. His dad will be proud.
Number 57, Golick Jr., who came in midseason to replace the injured starter, Braxton Cave, who's out for the year. Golick Jr.'s done a good job. Helping pave the way for this running game here on this drive. Sierra Wood now joins Reese in the backfield, and he gets the call. And another first down as Wood crosses the 40 down to the 39 of Florida State. There's Dad.
Jake and Mike on the team. Jake had a little surgery the other day. He'll be back at the spring practice, but right now it's brother Mike who's doing a good job at the center spot as they pull guards and do a little double team blocking with Mike Golick Jr.
He's got 311 pounds of Anthony McLeod standing opposite him. Wood now. And Wood to the 36, tackled by Nigel Bradham.
You know, and it's important for Brian Kelly to go to the running game now. Try and shorten the game some. His defense is playing great. He's got that sense of, you know, if we can put more pressure on Florida State, take some time off the clock, run it inside, it'll only make them more desperate when they get the ball.
They run on 2nd and 7, stacked up right away, and then eventually sent back as Vince Williams tore him down. Anthony McLeod was the first to get there, clogging up that middle.
That defense is really good. They're really good against the run. Number 2 in the country coming in. Surprisingly, they did not place anyone on the first team All-ACC team, even though they led the conference in defense. Look at the way they clog things up in the middle. Good attacking by Vince Williams at the linebacking spot.
By the way, the safety Lamarcus Joyner is now matched up with Michael Floyd because of the injuries to Greg Reed and Xavier Rose. So watch for that matchup. Floyd to the top side of your screen on 3rd and 7. Pressure comes and they get to him. Brandon Jenkins, the pass rushing terror, able to find Tommy Reese, and that was a big stand for the Florida State defense. They needed a stop there.
Yeah, Jenkins gets a lot of attention. Normally they slide protection towards him, move the offensive line to make him ineffective. They had a twist on that, allowed him to get away from the outside and come inside, and watch him show up right there. He's too quick for most linemen, particularly if he has a little bit of space.
So Ben Turk comes on the punt. Rashad Green putting those heels on the 10-yard line. And a fair catch just beyond the 15. Florida State will be back on offense, trailing by 11 here in Orlando.
Champ Sports understands the importance of a college education. The last 5 years, we've given away over $250,000 in cash through our annual Cash for College initiative. This year, students submitted a short essay telling us about their game on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. We awarded 13 winners with Cash for College. Champ Sports is pleased to announce the $10,000 grand prize winner is Josh Cole from Roseburg, Oregon. Josh's essay was selected from almost 1,000 entries and really exemplifies what it means to have game. Congratulations, Josh, and thanks to everyone who entered this year's contest.
Folks at Champ Sports should be thrilled. 68,305, a complete sellout here.
Wow.
At the Citrus Bowl Stadium. You know, this bowl's really grown, one of the top tier bowls in terms of payouts, $4.45 million.
Well, the whole week's great. It's a fantastic bowl, fantastic place to be.
Florida State need a little spark on offense, and unable to find it with Burt Reed, the senior receiver who pulled his hamstring during bowl practice back on December 12th. He was questionable to even play tonight.
Well, yeah, they're struggling offensively. 96 total yards on offense. They have more yards on their special teams and return yardage than total offense. 119.
That's unbelievable.
119 in special return yards, only 96 from the line of scrimmage. Wow. 5 sacks, 5 first downs.
DJ Manuel trying to change that. They go with the screen, able to connect. One little move by Green, and then he is tackled at the 21 by Jamoris Slaughter. Total yards that Rod referred to. Offense unable to get anything going. Look at the season compared to tonight. Not as if the season numbers were anything special.
Well, remember Florida, 95 yards, 21 points. A lot of that set up or scored by the defense. And remember, Virginia shut them down as well.
Yeah, they only scored 13 in that loss to Virginia back on November 19th. Had that 5-game win streak prior to that. Now a 3rd and 5. Irish bring 4. Manuel lofts it downfield. Outstretched and secured by Rashad Green. How about that?
That's a freshman stepping up to make so far the biggest offensive play for Florida State. Look at him lay out. He beat Gary Gray off the line of scrimmage in the man coverage. Notre Dame doesn't normally play man, but they got it that time. And Green was able to get behind him.
He is a future star.
Oh, yeah.
Missed 4 games this season with an injury, sprained his ankle. That was on a day when he was in the midst of a 12-catch, 163-yard effort. Over the middle, this is complete again. And Rodney Smith struggling to get free from Manti Te'o.
Well, you look at some of the freshmen out here and the recruiting class that they had 2 years ago and what they're doing in this recruiting season. Now Tom Luganville has them at number 2, 15 commitments already. 9 ESPNU 150 commitments, and they could be rolling. And you get some experience and depth with the youngsters they're playing tonight. You can see how they would be rated from top 15, top 10 going into next season.
Mario Edwards, the #1 defensive end in the country, right now verbally committed to Florida State. 2nd and 5, and he had to go down low for it, did Rodney Smith. So he's going to be marked, it looks like, just maybe a foot short of that first down line. See where they mark it.
And much better protection as Smith came up with that. The young offensive line, particularly the guards, the freshmen in their first start, did a much better job creating this 3rd and short.
Go to the ground, and that is Devontae Freeman with the first down for Florida State. Boy, oh boy, could they use 7 here, Roger.
Oh, yeah.
Get things going in the right direction for this offense that has struggled all night long.
Well, Jimbo Fisher told Holly Rowe at halftime, hey, my young offensive line is growing up. They're doing a little better. Well, we've seen it on this drive. They've protected Manuel, but then Notre Dame has not brought the blitz. You know, Bob Diaco is going to dial it up sooner or later here.
They only bring 3 this time. Manuel once again complete. Devontae Freeman, his running back, just taking what they give him there at the 29-yard line.
Well, that's got to end. If you're Notre Dame, you're thinking, okay, we got to bring more than 3. We've been beating up the quarterback all night long. Where's the pressure? Bring the pressure.
Final minute of the third quarter here, 2nd and 5. They only bring 3 again. Manuel's going to step up and run. A stiff arm and a first down.
Confidence. This group is gaining confidence. Watch the play. Watch the stiff arm. Right there. Get off me. When you're 6'5" and 240, you can take Calabrese and say, you're not tackling me today, pal.
Can he find running room again? This time he was taken down hard at the 18-yard line by Gary Gray, the cornerback.
Putting it on Manuel's shoulders or on his feet as the clock winds down. They've turned to him and his feet and his arm in the third quarter.
All of a sudden, a little life from Florida State. The Noles on the move. Beautiful scene from nearby Walt Disney World and the Magic Kingdom. 14-3 Irish. Champs Sports Bowl getting interesting here as we get a little deeper. Florida State knocking on the door now, 14-3, and they're driving inside the 20. This game is also being seen in spectacular ESPN 3D presented by Sony. ECS Championship game will also be on ESPN 3D. You can find out how to get it. Go to ESPN.com/3D. We're also going to have Capital One Bowl game in 3D here. Great experience for viewing. Start of the fourth. 2nd and 7.
Manuel sees the pressure. He sees that Notre Dame is showing blitz.
He's been sacked 5 times tonight. They pick up the pressure. He launches to the end zone. And that is caught for a touchdown. Burt Reed. And you see R.J. Blanton saying, hey, I got the ball. But it's a little late because Burt Reed brought it down.
When you get the blitz, you get a lot of man coverage on the back end. You see Reed clearly comes down with that ball inbounds, and it's not until they're out of bounds that Blanton takes it away. Great look right here. Catch, foot inside, inbounds, possession, and now that's the takeaway.
Tremendous athletic effort by Burt Reed.
Yeah, great throw. How about the protection that Manuel got from his young offensive line?
We're taking a look at this catch. The replay official is Terry Turlington.
That's
from
touchdown.
the Big 12.
Touchdown. Here, we saw the great look at it where you saw complete possession. Only question could be, was he in bounds? There's the right foot, there's the left foot. There's no question he's got possession, no question he's in bounds. that ought to be confirmed by the booth. Great throw, great catch, and can't say enough about that offensive line and Manuel recognizing the pressure coming, adjusting the protection and the play.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
So the video evidence confirms that the ruling on the field is correct. A touchdown, first play, fourth quarter. Florida State right back into this game.
He's keeping the offense on the field. Looks like he's going for two here. Clearly, Jimbo Fisher is thinking they're going to be limited possessions and points will be really hard to come by. And he wants to get within a field goal right now. I don't think you need to do it. He got so much time left, but I don't mind.
Trying to close to within 3, going for 2.
Not a huge downside.
Reed is in the slot to the near side. Freeman in the backfield with E.J. Manuel to the end zone, and that is incomplete. He was trying to go to the tight end, Nick O'Leary. Golf legend Jack Nicklaus's grandson was the target there. What a play by Burt Reed. We got ourselves a ball game in Orlando. E.J. Manuel, well earned to close this game to 5. He had 81 of Florida State's 84 yards on their scoring drive, connecting with Burt Reed at the end. Capital One Bowl Week continues Saturday, starts noon Eastern on ESPN with Texas A&M and Northwestern in the Meineke Car Care Bowl of Texas. And then the Chick-fil-A, always a good one this year. It is Virginia, the upstarts of the ACC against last year's BCS national title winning Auburn Tigers. That is 7:30 on ESPN. Chick-fil-A Bowl. Our Holly Rowe will be there in Atlanta.
Not before we're done here.
Call that game with Brad Nessler and Todd Blackledge, but plenty of work to be done here in Orlando. This place has come alive, a sellout of over 68,000. George Atkinson III, the freshman, and he is taken down by a hard-charging special teams unit just past the 15-yard line.
Yeah, and Jimbo Fisher's gamble going for 2 after that touchdown. Yeah, that's okay by us because we have that rule that once you get to the fourth quarter, you can go for 2. It's early when you go for 2 that we have a problem with.
You do carry that 2-point conversion badge. You really do.
Yeah.
That's one of your pet peeves, whether or not it's done correctly. He went for the 2 to try to make this a 3-point game. They went incomplete looking for Nick O'Leary. So a 5-point margin. I'll tell you, the Noles are cranked up on the sideline there. Tommy Reese, play clock running down. Both teams have struggled with that tonight. Little counter with Sierra Wood, and Wood gets the corner, and a great burst of speed before he is forced out by Brown.
He's the 10th player in Notre Dame history to rush for 1,000 yards. He's had 3 career multiple rushing touchdown games. Uses his quickness to get to the outside. Did a nice little job of losing a little weight to become quicker and a bit more elusive this season.
And now Andrew Hendricks comes in at quarterback. We saw this earlier tonight in the midst of a drive. Hendricks came in and was very successful with the quarterback runs.
He's in to throw the ball, though. In this formation, I think he's in there to throw it.
They go 3 receivers, and indeed he sets up that way before looking to make the decision, and then that was a flutter ball out of the bounds, looking for Robbie Tomo.
Yeah, when they come out and they put Floyd in that 3-receiver formation where he is the inside guy, that's trips to the left side. He's looking for Floyd. They're trying to get the matchup with a safety or linebacker, and in this case, they had Christian Jones, who's 240 pounds. They want that matchup, and that's why Hendricks is looking to Floyd there.
Keep in mind, Florida State defensive backfield. Xavier Rhodes injured. He was the big matchup with Floyd. Greg Reed was knocked out of the game. 2nd and 10. Hendricks looking to set up, and that is intercepted. Florida State's Nigel Brenham with the pickoff and muscling his way inside the 20-yard line.
Here's Bradham right here. He's going to move on out right into the throwing lane. Hendricks never sees him. All he sees is he's got his tight end Eifert there. He expects, I assume, him to come inside, and he throws it right to Bradham. Never, ever thought the linebacker would be sitting there. Never saw him.
Now they served it on a silver platter for this Florida State offense. Freeman to the 15-yard line. Disappointment, the redshirt freshman Andrew Hendricks. Remember, he came in against Stanford, played fairly well, impressed some. Then he thought perhaps Reese wouldn't get the start, but got the support of Kelly early on. Hendricks says platoon tonight, but will this cost them here? 2nd and 7. Freeman remains the back with Manuel. Plenty of time to the end zone. Caught for the score.
Wow, what a catch.
Rashad Green, and the Noles have come all the way back.
What confidence, because Green did not even look like he was open. He's got 3 guys around him, and that ball's put up over Fox. Fox had his back turned. Green, what a tremendous catch. And now they're chasing the 2 points. Now they're chasing the 2. They're going for 2 again.
Remember, failed 2-point conversion on their last score. So now only up by 1.
Yep.
Play clock running down. They're trying to make this a 3-point margin with the lead. Manuel. They pick up the pressure, trying to run it himself, and they get to him. That was Jamora Slaughter, so another failed 2-point conversion.
Now, you know what the critic and the cynic says? You just kick the PATs, you are up by 3 instead of 1. But how about the Green catch? The back of the end zone, a tough throw. He comes up with it, and now Florida State back on top, all the way back in this ball game.
ESPN College Football, the Champ Sports Bowl, is brought to you by Champ Sports. For the hottest brands in athletic footwear, apparel, fan gear, hats, and more, visit champsports.com. Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at jaguarusa.com. And Dove Men Plus Care.
Sellout here in Orlando. And aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned, making tires that go the distance, inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Over 68,000 watching this Florida State offense just sleepwalk for 3 quarters through this Champs Sports Bowl. But this 4th quarter has been electric with their comeback. 2 tremendous touchdown catches. First by Burt Reed, the most recent by Rashad Green. From the arm of E.J. Manuel. Couple failed 2-point conversions. And we have a 15-14 Florida State lead. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe here in Orlando. Short kick fielded and bobbled, and then downed at the 20. Let's check in with Ryan Burr.
All right, thanks, Joe. Checking in on Florida and Rutgers over on ESPN2. The 10th-ranked Gators in control. This one, 46-38. The freshman Beal leading the way with 12. Once again, that's over on ESPN2. Guys?
All right, Ryan. As you see, special teams unit, player down, and that's Telvin Smith, who's also played well as a middle linebacker for Mark Stoops' Florida State defense. What a turnaround. Last few minutes here. Florida State's first lead of the game at 15 yards. Touchdown receptions, 2 touchdowns in the last minute 36 to take the lead. That is the game summary brought to you by Marriott.
Why is it that it seems that every time Notre Dame turns over the football, it is huge, critical, leads to a big score? It's happened tonight. As you look at the trophy that's going to be presented at the conclusion of this game.
Both teams very hungry for a win tonight and momentum heading into next year with the foundation of good recruiting classes and tradition-rich programs with high expectations. Downfield and wide open is Eifert. And just like that, Notre Dame crosses midfield.
They had him in a stacked position out to the left side with Floyd. He went inside, Floyd went outside, and that opened it up. Tommy Reese back in the game, on target, and this time he throws it over the head.
Now he swings it to Riddick, and not much there at all, as that speedy Knowles defense was able to close on it with Jenkins and Mike Harris.
Just keep in mind, we talked about the corner situation for Florida State. They've lost a couple of guys, a couple of key guys in Reed and Rhodes. And Notre Dame should be taking advantage of those backups that are in there now.
2nd and 10, empty backfield for Reese. Pressure, and they smother him. Cornelius Carradine.
They just roll pass rusher after pass rusher after you. Warner, Jenkins, Dawkins, Carradine. It's quickness, athleticism. Carradine comes in from the right side, unblocked.
4 sacks tonight for the Florida State front. And now a 3rd and 17. Reese, pressure again. He escapes it, floats it, and that was batted away. Nigel Bradham, who had the interception moments ago, defends that pass. The pressure initially came from Jenkins.
And Brian Kelly has to be frustrated with his quarterbacks throwing the football away. But check out pressure. Left side, you have got to protect your quarterback. And look what Jenkins does. He just blows right through their best tackle, Zach Martin. Ate him alive and put pressure on Tommy Reese.
So Turk on to punt. Rashad Green, who had that spectacular touchdown catch, the fair catch this time, at about the 17-yard line. Brian Kelly talked to us yesterday. Rod, he spent about an hour with us. He said, listen, patience is the one thing I've been working on. Tough to be patient in critical times like this.
Yeah, his frustration with his quarterback play has been mounting all season. It's going to be the #1 off-season issue for Notre Dame. Spring ball into the summer. They're going to be talking about Reese. You'll be talking about Hendricks. You'll be talking about Everett Golson, who's redshirting this season. That's on the to-do list. Settle the quarterback situation, whoever it may be.
Remember, Florida State with 4 freshmen on their offensive line, but they've gotten through recently with the passing game. Freeman, now they go to the run. So can they now handle a 1-point lead here in the 4th quarter and bring down that clock a bit and advance the ball on the ground? They only had 12 rushing yards before this drive.
Well, you know, they've moved the football by running Manuel and also by throwing the ball. And Manuel looks like he's limping a little bit now. But using the ground attack with the running backs has not been effective for Florida State tonight.
8 of 9 here in the second half. There's been more action in the last 5 minutes of this game than in the previous 3 quarters. 2nd and 10 now. Notre Dame brings 4. He goes underneath, and Smith gets free for a first down. Florida State's leading receiver, the 6'6" Rodney Smith.
They're creating space for their athletes, running off the defense and coming back underneath with other receivers like Smith, trying to give him some space to operate, and it's working. But it's working because that young offensive line that was horrible in the first half is playing much better now.
Freeman remains the back, flanking Manuel to pass on first down, and that was denied by Manti Te'o.
Te'o's playing really, really well, and how happy are the Notre Dame folks that he decided to come back next year instead of heading off to the NFL, where he was likely going to be a first-round pick.
I loved what he said about his return, citing that he wants to make a bigger impact on the university, his teammates, and he wants those senior moments. We've seen a lot of that in college football recently. Matt Barkley making that decision at USC. Coming up, you're going to see Baylor. Robert Griffin III, the Heisman winner, has a decision to make about his future. 2nd and 10. The screen, the receiver coming across the middle is Green, but he is stacked up right away at the 38-yard line by Te'o and Slaughter.
Manti Te'o said that millions don't buy you the memories. Similar sentiments from Matt Barkley, coming back so that USC has a chance to play in a bowl game next season. He can be a part of something special. Andrew Luck did that last season, come back for Stanford this year, similar reasons. Nothing like finishing with the class you came in with.
3rd and 6. Can they stay on the field, keep milking this clock, or will Notre Dame get a chance here? They picked up the pressure downfield, and that is caught on his back. What do they say?
Oh, you know, it bounced off of Green, and then on his back, he caught it.
They're talking it over, and it's a catch. They are ruling that a reception.
Has he made more spectacular plays than anybody else in this second half?
Unbelievable concentration to stay with this ball.
We talked about his becoming a star. Watch it. He has possession. That one loses it, comes out. He's in bounds, and now he has the ball.
His left shoulder starts to skirt up against the white there. Did he possess the ball? Remember, ruling on the field is a reception.
It's under further review.
Does he have possession before his body goes out of bounds? That's the question. We will get the answer when we return to Orlando. Stay with us. The call on the field has been confirmed. This is a catch by Rashad Green. A first down for Florida State. It would have been a 4th and 6 if it was reversed.
It's possession because of that right hand. He had control of it with the right hand before the left shoulder slid out of bounds.
Rashad Green has been spectacular in this 4th quarter. He had the big catch to give Florida State the lead. In this half alone, 5 catches for 99 yards, the touchdown to put them up, and then that catch moments ago.
Well, it's his athleticism, the way he's able to control his body in the air, great speed, and really, really good hands. He is on his way to becoming a big-time player at Florida State.
Just a freshman. And now Florida State looking to add to that lead. Create a cushion. That ball was off the fingers of Green after lauding him so much.
Yeah. Well, you know, the game plan for Florida State coming in entirely was to use their speed and throw the football. But look what they did in the first half. They couldn't do much because they couldn't protect the quarterback. They've done a better job in the second half. They've been able to use the game plan, get their receivers and their superior speed outside on the corners and safeties, and come up with some big plays. It all starts up front. You don't take care of the quarterback, you got no chance of throwing the football.
Rodney Smith and Kenny Shaw here on 2nd and 10 for E.J. Manuel, the junior quarterback who has sparked things here. They go to the inside handoff just short of the 10-yard line was Devontae Freeman.
And you know, the dilemma for Notre Dame is that trying to go to the blitz is a problem now because they know they can't match up on the back end against the 3-4 receivers of Florida State with their superior speed.
We got an official's timeout as Jamoris Slaughter, who's been key to Notre Dame's success defensively, was banged up at the end of that play.
He's had a big night.
Of course, it is that time of the year, the bowl season. And on Monday, January 2nd on ESPN, the Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio, number 10 Wisconsin, number 5 Oregon. Coverage begins at 4:30 Eastern. It's also available on ESPN Radio, ESPN3, streaming live on watchespn.com.
The Michael James, Monty Ball, premier running backs. I mean, you know, we all get excited about bowl season, but no game gets you like the Rose Bowl. Location, the contrast and styles. One conference from the Big Ten, one team from the Pac-12. It's wonderful.
And Big Game Brent, Mr. Musburger, will have the granddaddy of them all, along with Herbie and Aaron Andrews. Here's your 3rd and 2.
They've converted their last 3.
To the end zone and well beyond Kenny Shaw. So on trots Dustin Hopkins, one of the more talented place kickers in the country. Big leg. Good marks for accuracy made from 42 earlier this evening. This from just 29 yards out to try to push the margin to 4. And he splits them. (18-14). Florida State now.
18, Notre Dame 14.
Notre Dame's had some issues throwing the football. Tommy Rees tried to throw this ball away, almost got it picked, and Brian Kelly did not react very well to that. And then how about the youngster, Hendricks? He comes in, he throws one directly to the other team, and Kelly's on him too. Big turnovers from the quarterback position have bothered Notre Dame all season. You see the numbers on Rees and Hendricks. They both have thrown a big pick in this ball game.
18 unanswered points by Florida State. Tremendous efforts by the wide receivers. Look at those gold shoes by Hopkins. Puts a new coat of gold spray paint on his shoes every week.
I like it. I also like the Notre Dame shoes. They've gone with the tri-colored shoes, and they also have jerseys with their names on the back that they'll give to the players after the game.
That's an old tradition that goes back to Eric Parsegian back in the 70s, so that the guys can take their bowl jerseys home with them with their names on them. You won't see that during the regular season. Here's Atkinson the third, and he is torn down at the 15. Let's check in with the studio and Ryan Burr. Ryan, what do you have?
All right, Joe, just a reminder, we are working our way towards the Valero Alamo Bowl. The Heisman winner, Robert Griffin III, taking on Washington. We'll do that when we are done in Orlando, but looks like we got a long way to go.
You never know, Ryan. Funny things can happen. Florida State up 18-14. Baylor in back-to-back bowl games for the first time since 1992. Robert Griffin III, the Heisman winner, coming up in the Valero Alamo Bowl. But let's see what Notre Dame has to offer here in these final 8 minutes.
How much confidence does Kelly have in his quarterbacks right now?
Tommy Rees, they've platooned all night. Rees with time, down the field. What a catch by Eifert.
He's taking some shots.
Terrence Brooks got to him there. Well, look at Tyler Eifert, the 6'6" tight end, go up for this.
Yeah, he gets a free release, and then there's no one behind him. He picks up 22 yards on this one. We've seen this play a couple of times. We'll probably see it again until Florida State adjusts to it.
They go on the ground with Sierra Wood, and Wood plows ahead to the 43-yard line, met by Mike Harris and Terrence Parks. And Rod, the matchups. You spent a lot of time earlier tonight talking about the matchups with Michael Floyd. Xavier Rhodes injured earlier. Greg Reed, the other quarterback for Florida State, knocked out of the game with an injury.
Yeah, you want to create that if you can do it. They've got to move around Floyd to get that done. Florida State's backing off a little bit, not being so aggressive on Floyd.
They run on 2nd and 4, and it's a first down for the Irish out to midfield.
You see what Kelly likes to do. He spreads you out, and if you move your linebackers and safeties out to cover the guys that are spread out, he will run the football inside on you.
Robbie Toma, a little guy who's been so successful this year, and T.J. Jones, a fine-looking athlete.
No Michael Floyd out there right now.
We'll check in with Holly on Michael Floyd right after this play. First down now. Reese. Play action. Downfield. Toma overthrown. Let's check in with Holly on Michael Floyd.
Well, guys, after those two big collisions, one on that circus touchdown catch that Michael Floyd had, he's been coming over the sideline and really grimacing in pain, trying to stretch out what looks like his left hip flexor or the back of his leg. He sees like it's very painful, but he's continuing to try to play, but he just hasn't been the same in this game. We haven't seen him running some explosive routes since we saw that big collision.
Yeah, here's the first hit that he took over on the sideline. Jordan came over and got him.
2nd and 10. They try the counter with Wood, and he is chopped down by Mike Harris.
You know, now on this 3rd down, if you're Florida State, you think in terms of taking away Eifert. What a tremendous play here. See, Harris is to the right side. Jenkins over there. Harris comes in and makes the tackle. But now on this big 3rd down, you want to make sure that number 80 doesn't beat you, that you take him away. Michael Floyd isn't out there. If you're Florida State, you roll your coverage to 80. You make somebody else make a catch.
Getting loud here in Orlando. 3rd and 15. They need to get to the 40. Reese throws short to midfield to Eifert. So it'll be 4th down at midfield. Christian Jones stuck Eifert.
They had no other options, and Kelly is not happy about that. You know, why are you going there in that situation? There's nothing there. He wanted a chance to have a 4th down or to pick up that 1st down there. But that's a throwaway play. That's what he's telling them now.
He threw underneath, 10 yards short of the line to make on 3rd and 15. Ben Turk on to punt. Rashad Green has been a star this 4th quarter. Back for the return. Calls for the fair catch. It bounces inside the 5. Special teams play. They bat it around and they down it inside the 1-yard line. Ryan Cavanaugh with a great play on special teams. There's number 50 coming right off the field. Look at this effort.
Nicely done. How about Mata at the end, waiting there to come up with the ball and save this and pin Florida State.
Finds an alley. Touchdown, Florida State.
No doubt, the Irish are number 1.
A touchdown! A touchdown! Unbelievable finish.
Wiggle outside him. Inside him, outside him. And don't forget, man, today, we're gonna win.
They had that well-hyped game of the century back in 1993. Two traditional powers looking to get back, meeting up here tonight in the Champs Sports Bowl. And this 4th quarter has been filled with intrigue, Florida State pinned. Freeman looking for space out to the 3-yard line. Big night here in Orlando. A sellout, over 68,000 to see Florida State and Notre Dame. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe. We're going to lead you right up to RG3, the Heisman Trophy winner in the Valero Alamo Bowl with Baylor and Washington. But for now, the big story is the comeback of Florida State. 18 unanswered. Coming alive is Jimbo Fisher's squad here in the 4th quarter. Notre Dame's defensive front, they've been solid all year long. They could use a big play and a stop right here and give their offense good field position. Freeman, boy, they just got to him. Good effort by Lewis Nix and Dan Fox.
Nix is a big force inside. You'll see him show up here right in the middle, number 9. All 330 pounds of him. Just dismisses the center and gets in there. Big 3rd down now. I assume you're going to see Rashad Green back on the field for Florida State at a wide receiver spot. He's been something. Let me ask you this. How proud do you think our colleague Chris Carter is of Rashad Green?
Teaching him some of the fundamentals.
Yeah,
he's been so impressive.
Coached
Obviously, he had the big touchdown catch. Yep. And then he had the play on the sideline, push this margin to 18-14. What a strange game, by the way, when you look at the Florida State offense. The 4 freshmen on the offensive line early on in this game, they could not protect and contain. That Notre Dame defense was getting in the offensive backfield time and time again, Rod.
Yeah, and I think Notre Dame helped them a little bit because they backed off of the blitz because they were afraid of the single coverage in the secondary, and I think that helped them. Rashad Green starts making plays, and that really told Notre Dame, we can't match up like that. We don't want to deal with it. So it helped. It really helped the offensive line to simply have to block 3 or 4 and not 5 or 6.
Told you, sellout here in the Champs Sports Bowl. You got folks up on the ramp standing waiting to see how this one plays out. A big 3rd and 8. E.J. Manuel from his own end zone in the shotgun. Sprints to the far side, pressure from the backside, launches it, and it's incomplete. They're going to be punting from the end zone.
Tells you how big that special teams play was to down the ball inside the 2-yard line. They moved the launch point. They moved Manuel away from the pressure. They knew it was coming there, but Dan Fox applied the pressure. You'll see him coming. They moved away from him, but he kept on coming and forced Manuel to get rid of it, as Stephon Tuitt was also there to take a shot.
Remember, Sean Powell, the Florida State punter, number 1 in the country, 47 yards overall punting. John Goodman, and this is a bad one. It dribbles past the 35, just past the 40. A flag is down. We will check on that. He needed the roll to make that a 40-yard punt. As Reggie Smith and that Big 12 crew, who's had a lot of explaining to do tonight, and they've done it well, talks things over here on this penalty.
During the kick, personal foul, face mask, kicking team, number 13. 15 yards will be added to the end of the kick. First down.
I mean, they're just teeing this thing up now for Brian Kelly's offense.
Yeah, if that's 13. He's got Nigel Bradham, the starting linebacker, on that one. And Notre Dame's going to be in business here.
Capital One Bowl Week continues tomorrow on ESPN. You get BYU and Tulsa, the Bell Helicopter Armed Forces Bowl. Rutgers and Iowa State from Yankee Stadium. Mississippi State and Wake Forest in the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. And then Iowa and Oklahoma, number 14, meeting up with the Hawkeyes in the Insight Bowl at 10 o'clock. 3:56 to go. Notre Dame trailing by 4. There's plenty of noise here. Florida State supporters looking for their defense to step up. Reese gets it to Toma, looking for a block, cuts to the corner, and then lowers his shoulder inside to the 24-yard line. Here's Holly.
Guys, you'll notice Michael Floyd not on the field for Notre Dame. I saw medical personnel go up to him and say, what happened? And he made a motion like he'd gotten punched somehow in the stomach. He's on the sideline. He's got his helmet on. I'm not sure if he can return, guys. It looks like he's trying to shake it off.
Had a sensational juggling catch to give them a 2-touchdown lead, but we haven't seen him since do much of anything. And now out of the game as Wood takes it to the 18-yard line.
Well, not having Floyd is a big, big loss. He dictates everything for that offense.
And move the chains here. 3.5 minutes to play, Rob. Notre Dame looking for the go-ahead score.
Well, they're looking for somebody to step up and make a play in place of Floyd. And Eifert's going to get a lot of attention down here.
That's number 80 in motion, All-American tight end. Delayed handoff, Sierra Wood. And Wood is taken down. A flag is down in the backfield as Wood struggled to get past the line of scrimmage. Nigel Bradham with the tackle.
Holding. Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
The right guard, Trevor Robinson. It's been a long time starter. The most experience they have up front. So that'll push him back, but keep in mind it was first down. Line to make is the 8-yard line for the Irish.
If I'm Brian Kelly, I want Michael Floyd out there, even as a decoy. Even if he can't go full speed, I'd want him out there to take some pressure off of Eifert.
First and 20 after the call. To the end zone. Intercepted. Terrence Brooks picks off Tommy Reese. Reese with another interception in the end zone.
Yeah, you don't have Michael Floyd. You can't throw into double coverage and expect somebody else to out-jump two defenders. He tries to go to Goodman. Goodman is 6'3", but he's not Michael Floyd. And Terrence Brooks is able to get up and take this one away. You know, when you have a chance to put points on the board, you have to be careful with the football. And this has been the issue for Tommy Reese all season long.
It started week 1 against South Florida. 5 turnovers that day. A pair of first-half turnovers inside South Florida's 10-yard line and continued at Michigan. And then they look to straighten things out, but it bites them here tonight in the bowl game. Devontae Freeman stacked up that time by Harrison Smith.
Now, if you're Notre Dame, what you tell your defense is, look, they haven't run the football on us all night. We're going to play to stop them from running the ball now, and we'll get the ball back for the offense. There's plenty of time.
Timeout called by Notre Dame, trying to save those precious seconds. 2:39 remain, trailing by 4. They have 1 timeout remaining. Let's check in with Ryan Burr in the studio.
All right, thanks, Joe. Exciting game there over on ESPN2. We got college baskets. 10th-ranked Florida in a tussle with Rutgers. Kenny Boynton from deep knocking down the triple. And currently, Florida up 64-57, under 3 minutes to go. And just a reminder, coming up next, it is Terrence Williams. He had a monster year for Baylor. It's the Valero Alamo Bowl. Baylor and Washington coming up next, guys.
All right, Ryan, thank you. And after our game, you can join us on ESPN3 for the trophy ceremony. That's immediately following this Champs Sports Bowl. Of course, the Valero Alamo Bowl with the Heisman winner. Washington's defense has struggled. Could be a very big night for RG3. For now, needs to be a big moment for the Notre Dame defense. Freeman on 2nd and 8. He breaks free, and he gets the first down.
Wow.
The true freshman from Miami, as Brian Kelly can only look on and hope for one last chance for his offense.
Yeah, that offensive line got it done. But if you're Brian Kelly, think about Notre Dame quarterback situation. There have been a few great ones, but by and large, it's been a pretty transient place. 21 prospects, 9 transferred, position changes 5 times. Currently, they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. One of them that was recruited actually changed position.
Those are the recruits since '94, the year after these two teams met in the game of the last century. Here's Freeman again, this time nothing doing, stacked up at the line of scrimmage by Gary Gray and Carlo Calabrese. And a timeout, the final timeout called by Notre Dame.
A couple of picks tonight. Hendricks throwing one directly to Bradham. And then there was a play where Tommy Reese not only had a poor decision throwing one away, but then came back and threw one down the middle of the field that Brooks got. Remember, Dane Chris started the season at quarterback and transferred. And Notre Dame will go into this offseason, as you see the numbers, trying to figure out, will it be Reese, Hendricks, or Golson, the kid who is redshirting this season?
DJ Manuel, Jimbo Fisher. Remember, this was a year full of high expectations, and for Notre Dame, of course, the expectations are always so high. So heading into 2012, some of the storylines to look for.
You know, I think eventually they'll get the offense settled, and I think their defense is going to be fine. The real key is, will they find guys who can play corner in the secondary so that they can be more aggressive on defense? To me, that's the big issue for Notre Dame.
Well, they got a early enrollee coming with a commitment from T. Shepard, the #1 quarterback recruit in the country from Fresno. This is a good hard run that time by Devontae Freeman. All of a sudden, these young offensive linemen for Florida State, who struggled so mightily in the first half, are drive blocking well here, looking to close out this game.
Yeah, hey, they were top recruits, all those guys on that offensive line. But just, you know, we're talking about Notre Dame in next season. There's a chance that they could be better next year, but not have a better record when you look at that schedule as you evaluate teams right now. And that's a tough road. You know, Michigan State, Michigan back-to-back, Miami, Stanford, USC at the end.
And now Devontae Freeman is trying to work here on 3rd and 1, but comes up short as the clock heads under a minute. Notre Dame without a timeout.
How about Florida State's ability to find a running attack to salt away the game late here as we look at their storylines for next year? This team, if they're healthy, they're sitting pretty next year.
You know, people love them this year. They were preseason #6 in the country. They're going to be facing a 4th and 2 here as Notre Dame, and the clock counts down to under 35 seconds, looking for that one last chance.
We were with Rick Trickett, the offensive line coach, the other night, and he told us he's never had a season like this where he had to change his offensive line so much or play this many young freshmen.
So 24 seconds will remain before this 4th and 2 and the last gasp effort that Notre Dame hopes to get. Tonight's Capital One player of the game, in a game that exploded on the first play of the 4th quarter. Rashad Green, the freshman receiver who had the touchdown catch that put them ahead 15-14, and then had the juggling catch on his back to help them push that lead to 18-14. A big 4th quarter, a big night for Green.
Yeah, tremendous. He was just impressive. He's an outstanding receiver. Just sick when you watch him leap in the air and come down with plays like that. He's fantastic, but don't sleep on what that defense did tonight. Only 1 offensive touchdown, 3 picks, 4 sacks, and an offensive line that grew up in the second half.
Theo Riddick is going to be back deep to return the punt. Remember, Michael Floyd, we haven't seen him. Got the report of the injury from Holly. Sean Powell, big leg punter. He lets it loose here and drives a good punt all the way inside the 10. Here's Riddick. A flag comes down as he was met at about the 10-yard line, leaving 13 seconds on the clock. That was Telvin Smith with the special teams tackle.
It looks like Hendricks is going to come out at the quarterback. So I know there's Reese. I thought for a moment they'd go with the bigger arm with Hendricks.
Believe it or not, let them
during the return. Block in the back. Receiving team, #4. Half distance to the goal. First down, Notre Dame.
So it's going to push them back even further. Little hope left. They had a 14-0 lead in the third quarter. There was a 77-yard kickoff return by Florida State that gave them a chance to first get on the board, and then the fourth quarter came along and the offense found themselves. That is incomplete.
Goodman was setting up to pitch that ball back to a trailing receiver. Pretty typical play at this stage of the game.
They were looking for the lateral there, and now Andrew Hendricks trots on. Believe it or not, Goodman has the strongest arm on the team, the receiver who just dropped that pass. He was a high school quarterback, and he can launch it. Much bigger arm than Reese or Hendricks. Hendricks now is going to heave it downfield, and that falls incomplete with 1 second remaining. Rod, what's your big takeaway from what you've seen this evening?
I think Florida State could be setting up for something interesting next season, considering that they're playing so many freshmen growing up. They're going to have a top recruiting class next year. They had a season with a bunch of injuries. They've got a veteran quarterback next year. I think Florida State could really be something next season, and Notre Dame has a couple of issues to get resolved.
Look at the energy and enthusiasm. People talk about do teams want to be in some of these bowl games. This Champs Bowl had a special feeling to it tonight. Last play, looking for a miracle. Toma laterals it, and that'll end it. The Champs Sports Bowl goes to the Seminoles with a fourth quarter rally. 18 unanswered points, and they defeat the Fighting Irish 18-14. Let's get down to Holly with Jimbo Fisher.
Well, Coach, how do you describe the way not only your offensive line, but Rashad Green, your freshman, everybody grew up so much in the second half?
Those freshmen grew up and they played a great game and had a great leader in EJ who they kept people in. And like I said, they gave him enough time. He made plays. That freshman line, the freshman receivers, the backs, but that defense played great. Special teams, it was a great team effort. Happy as heck for our kids. We won't quit.
How does it propel you for next year, Coach?
Well, I think it gives us momentum. We had this momentum last year. Now we can just stay healthy in the year, and we can keep our injuries down, but we built a lot of depth. Just excited about where this program's going.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Big scene here in the fourth quarter for the Noles. Final score, Florida State 18, Notre Dame 14. Coming up next, it is the Heisman winner in the Valero Alamo Bowl. We're going to give you live coverage of the trophy ceremony if you log on to ESPN3. For Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe, and our entire crew here in Orlando, I'm Joe Tessitore, wishing you a great night. We'll get you to San Antonio, but first, let's check in with the studio.